episode 11 of the All About Counter-Strike podcast. It is, I don't even know what time it is for me in Kazakhstan. It is 00:59 on Monday, the 19th of May, which means DevWalk. Actually, I don't know what time it is for you because normally I just go back 1 hour from Ukraine.
Well, it's
so what time is it for you? But you're on the 18th still, right? We're in different time zones.
Yes, that is correct. It's the 18th of May, 21:59 here in Umeå, Sweden. The sun is still out. And,
oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's summer is creeping on. Yeah, I mean, up here we have 24/7 sun in the summer, so it gets hot in the apartment.
Yeah, you got aircon?
Not really, no. We're getting.
Oh no!
Yeah,
bro.
I'll tell you. When I moved in here, we had this you could order kind of food boxes, prepped food. You can make the dishes with recipes, all that stuff. They always came with these like big ice packs. And I used to sleep and hug the ice packs when I moved in because it was so hot in the apartment.
Oh, Sweden's not as cold as you think at the summer, especially when you got no darkness. That's for sure. Yeah. Oh, god damn. So, here in Astana, it's been like 30 degrees every day we're in the arena. Then today, it just bucketed it down with rain. It was perfect. I didn't sweat as much on the stage. Some days on the stage, I was so sweaty. And this thing, by the way, this was given to me as traditional Kazakh clothing.
Got some new drip.
Yeah, man. You know me, always fresh dripping on the stage, always doing they call it cultural appropriation. I don't know.
You're culturally appropriating them.
The fans love it, yeah. And I was given this actually. Do you know what I tell this story? I don't know if you saw it at the very beginning of the day. It was like right as the stream started, so it was quite early. There was a kid called Charloon. He's 7 years old, high elo Faceit player, and his dad, who's super supportive of him. They've got like 150,000 followers on Instagram, and dad plays. He's at like 2.2k elo. His son's not far behind him at 7 years old. Some of his clips, by the way, bro, he would smash me in a 1v1. I'm damn sure. And he'd probably be laughing while doing it. They're both from Kazakhstan. They came on a stage and they just because obviously being from Kazakhstan, this event, he's very popular. We just did like a little interview and stuff. And when they told me their story of how they were banned on Faceit because he's not 13, I couldn't say Faceit on. Yeah, by the way, I fucking hate this. Like, I'm so against this, and I know people will disagree with me because it's rules and stuff. My thing is, if he's doing his school, yeah, and his parents are supporting him, this is just like any other sport. If it's football or rugby, basketball, cricket, I don't know, man. My parents put me in boxing when I was 4 years old. Yeah,
yeah,
and you're punching people in the face. Okay, we got headgear and stuff on, but I mean, it was my dad got me to do it, I enjoyed it. I love doing it. And it's like, I know Counter-Strike can be violent, but if he's hitting all the other things his parents want him to hit, don't hinder someone who could go on to have a pro career. Because look at the players we praise, Donk, Manasi, they started 5-6 years old playing the game, That's why they're so great. That's why we have these generational talents. And I'm so sad to hear that Faceit would ban him and now he has to just play normal matchmaking and will not get as quick in terms of learning and growing as a player. But I told this kid, I said, don't give up on the dream just because people are throwing dumb rules at you. Keep following your dad's advice and just keep grinding, because I hope he's going to be on a stage one day and doing an interview in English, because I had to have a translator. Poor little kid, obviously he doesn't speak any English at all. But I mean, I told him, just go for that dream, because that's what the future of Counter-Strike is, in these young players coming up. And I'm all here for that. My son is 8 years old. I'll play Counter-Strike with him. Yeah?
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with that. Sadly, he just plays Minecraft and Roblox, but
He'll get there. He'll get there. But one thing, I think people are gonna reference to this, it's like this PG-13 and these kind of age things. But that's always been just a recommendation. There's never been a law. It's it's not illegal to put your kid into watch an 18-year-old movie.
Exactly.
It's a recommended age. That's it. Just
dude,
so people know.
And the thing is, right, his dad's there the whole time, and he can't stream, he can't face it now. It's if I had the money and the power, I would just make a league for under 11-year-olds like we have in football, Yeah. You get people like Spirit and Navi who are talent scouting these young players. Navi Youth had a 13, 12-year-old kids, They're going to be promising players of the future. And in CIS, obviously, it's a bit more common. And I always come back to the fact that, like, obviously, the opportunity within CIS region of what you could earn is far greater than, like, probably what a normal life would be within the
Yeah.
CIS region, comparing it to Europe. But it's like, they're so cool, by the way. And they, to go back to the story, how I started on this, the dad came and gifted me this and the hat. And he was like, it would be my honor if you had this. And I said, bro, I'm
Oh,
wearing that on stage. Like, how cool is that he hooked me up with traditional Kazakh clothing and then like just yeah, like, but by the way, it's fire. It's made of like nice quality material. It's all like smooth and shit. I felt comfortable as hell.
I
But I'll
mean, you
tell you
look like a
this:
king, man.
normally, for real, for real. And do you know what? The crazy thing is, obviously in Kazakhstan, normally it's real cold. I can feel
Yeah.
why, because this is warm. This is like this keeps you warm. I might be sweating through this episode, but I'm not taking this off. I'm gonna be here and
I'll
I'm gonna be
reference
Kazakh Banks.
a thing you said there about like under 11s league. I mean, I
Mm,
think people will kind of watch or hear this and they'll be like, but why, you know? But at this end
yeah.
of the day, I think there's real possibility to actually educate people on like healthy gaming and like
Yeah.
ergonomics, all of these things, like how do you
In
rest,
school.
focus, yeah, all of this stuff. I mean, we're so like, you know, face down the screens, we're in social
Hmm.
media, all this kind of stuff, and kind of
Yeah.
tackling that from an early age because I know there's esports schools and they do a lot of these things where, you know, it's all about how do you game healthy? You know, it's not
Yeah.
about, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
how do you become the best? That's part of it. But at the end of the day, it's about how do I make this habit a good thing instead
Yeah.
of maybe something that just completely takes over my life to the detriment, right?
Yeah, and there's oh, by the way, there's a balance in everything. Like, look at every great football player. Just an example, like Ronaldo, he was grinding an insane amount. You know, he's just set his goals on that dream, but he's a 0.1% or 0.5%, right, of the rest of the world who are playing. But the ones that make it start early, grind early, you know, they they manage to make it work. It can't be everyone,
Yeah.
but we shouldn't hinder people's opportunities and ban them because of this. So, like, I'm very
Yeah.
supportive of him. I spoke about it on the stream. Some people tweeted at me like, "Oh, like he's a kid. It's child labor." What the fuck, man? It's his dad. What do you mean child labor? You bloody morons! Like, it's actually nuts. But honestly, I can't wait to get into Astana because there is so much to unpack here, dude. But let me first ask you, just how was your week? We didn't speak to each other so much.
I mean, I've been trying to catch as much as I've been able to. I pretty much missed all of the
Yeah.
7 in the morning games, but I'll be honest. I'll be honest. But I've been watching pretty much everything else. And you know, I think it's been a great tournament. I've really
Yeah.
enjoyed it. Went out yesterday to celebrate one of my girlfriend's friends, and
Nice.
yeah, just been keeping it chill. The sun here has been pretty hot. So yeah, my girlfriend's been on the balcony. I've been on the PC watching Counter Strike. You know, perfect
Sounds
balanced
about
life.
right. As always, as always. All right, well, let's get into Astana then. And I think the thing what happened here with Astana is obviously I'll say this right. If we go look at the group stage,
Yep.
it actually it came in with some confusing results from the beginning. Yeah,
Yep.
I want to go back all the way to day one. First of all, Astralis, they may have won over Odic 2-1, but because it was 2-1, at the time, I just thought, okay, I'm still not believing in what they could do. Yeah. Big upsetting Aurora was wild. The G2 situation, I know we were keen on G2 making playoffs, even with Hades, but we did not know that Hunter was going to be hit with the visa issue. Dude,
Yeah.
I was stood behind him at the airport. We were supposed to board the same flight to Astana
Oh, really?
from Istanbul. Yeah. And I was there when he got denied, and they were like, you need a visa. And he's like, no, I checked. And like his managers there, everyone's there. And they really honestly thought that he would not need a visa. So
Oh,
it was just
wow.
very unlucky. They come from boot camp, and yeah, that's it, dude. Because people are like, "Oh, it's like America." They deny. No, he needed a visa. It was an error. They didn't know he actually needed a visa, and that's rough, man. That's
Yeah.
a rough way to go of it. Like, so G2's journey was kind of halted. Where do you want to start with this? Where do you want to look at this? Because it became such an interesting event, and there was so many different storylines with it. I think if we start with like, I guess Game of Legion coming last place, because Game of Legion
Yeah.
and M80 went out 0-3. M80, with no offense to them, they can put up a fight in some aspects, but they've still got a lot of work to do before that can be a team that's actually like, they've got too many inconsistencies, and they can maybe get a game close, but they're probably
I
a
mean,
team that's
Game
maybe
Legion was
change away.
hugely disappointing. I
Bro,
think
we
Swiss
were both
system
so
is,
hyped on them.
and Swiss systems doesn't. I don't think it's their thing. You know, I've
Ugh.
seen too many of these kind of Swiss systems go with Gamer Legion 0-3 right now,
Mhm.
and it doesn't seem to suit them. But I mean, if we're honest, the most disappointing one is obviously losing to Hotu or Hotu, or how do you ever you want to
Yeah, so you're
pronounce
supposed to
that?
say hotto like that,
Hoto,
basically.
Hoto. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So losing to Hoto was, this is a game where, okay, they go into a 0-2 matchup, they get Hoto.
Yep.
They should be like, yeah, thank God, we have a chance, we can grab a
This is our
2-2
comeback.
win into, like playing, our way into the playoff, kind of like how
Mhm.
it ended up for NIP a little bit, playing a little bit of weaker opponents at the end, uh, to kind of clinch that last spot, so to speak. But they got
Yeah.
actually kind of demolished by them. It wasn't even close. So you can always respect the first game against Spirit, 13-11, 13-11. Their
Mhm.
second game against Furia, that's where a little bit of disappointment came in. But this is before we knew that Furia would actually be, a playoff team,
A
so to
looking
speak.
good
I
team.
think a lot of
Yeah,
people looked down on this matchup for Gamer Legion, that they lost it,
so
that they kind of fumbled
let
it.
me stop you there,
Yeah,
because I'll say this, right? Losing to Spirit, that's understandable for Game of Legion, right?
yeah,
Losing to Furia, like you said, what we know, cool. But it is interesting because Game Legion got mega fucked because they were like the ninth seeded team, which means they play Spirit. And then they should get on paper an easier team. But because of how the upsets happened and how games went down, like they get this newly powered up Fury with Yakinda being back. So I feel like the seeding system here was also a problem. We spoke about it last episode of
yeah.
like how Game of Legion seed, if they were just eighth, they probably would have avoided all of this. It is a Swiss system. Obviously, it should give you multiple chances. But yeah, this was rough. This was really rough.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate, because I think right now we can't hype them up as much because this was a really poor showing.
Yeah.
With them missing the major, not doing well in this event either, they could be at risk of
Yeah.
actually falling off in these invite spots, where people
Yeah.
who've played well in this tournament, like I'm talking past the major, right? Where
Yeah. You're
people
going into
who
next season.
don't have a major spot at this very moment, like the Astralis or the, of the world, where these points
Yeah.
actually matter so freaking much for the next season or next half of this season. So yeah, really disappointed. I think I watched a little bit of the Furia game, but it was more about, Furia actually kind of impressing me rather than,
Hmm.
especially this Molodoi kid. I thought it would
Oh,
be
yes.
like not that good. That's I'll be
Yeah.
honest. I did not think he would be that good. Obviously, there was some nerves
Bro,
involved in there, but he impressed me.
we'll come on to Molodoy and Fury and that run in a little
Yeah,
bit. So yeah, Game Legion is problematic, and also now they have a stand-in for Dallas, which we'll come on to later in the episode. But it's like the things that are now racking up as problems for Game of Legion and failures for Game of Legion is going to hurt them so bad next season, and that's the implications of what's happening here.
yeah.
That's
And I wonder
that's
if
a
this
big
is
problem
like
for them.
they lost that major spot and it kind of killed them a little bit inside.
And I was hoping not. I was hoping, especially after Melbourne and making your playoffs right for the first
Yeah,
time, I honestly believe that they'd be another playoff team, especially with the field of teams that were here. But they are playing a lot of events. I'm not going to give that as an excuse for it, but there's obviously a lot going on with not having visas, players having problems. It's kind of rough out there. Um, you know where like you put big right now? I think it's the next team I want to touch on. There's
Where
not
I
too
put
much time
them.
we need to spend on big because like they came 12th to 14th. I thought they would be in like the 9th to 11th, 12th to 14th. So it's kind of okay where I put them. But I still expected more from some of their games by now. This is a team that's been together for enough time. They've got some pieces that I think are individually good and skilled, and yet they're still missing the mark sometimes. And Tabson always fills me with mad confidence when I talk to him in interviews. But
Yeah, I don't know
this
what
and
it
it
is.
still. Do they need to go international again?
I don't know. I've been trying to actually think about this when watching it. It just feels like, they have a lot of talent, and they have a lot of
Yeah.
talent kind of meshed together. And I don't know if it is that they don't have that kind of second voice, second leader that kind of stabilizes things, like maybe a let's take Falcons for example, like a Magisk. I personally think he would be someone that could help organize. He's stable on the anchor role.
Or
Maybe it's
Nico on
not
his
up to
CT
par,
side
and maybe he's
calling.
not the best player on the server, but he's definitely, he has a lot of experience to kind of tone down the stresses of things and
Yeah.
stabilize the game. While I'm not sure they have that voice because with the talent they have, I feel like they should be able to clinch a better result, especially with how long they've been practicing. And I don't even know if maybe it's not even that. Maybe it's like a stylistic thing where they are
Mm.
stuck in their ways in this kind of old CSGO pattern of playing things where, you know, they're just stuck in this loop of a gob B kind of style, even though they've never, they
Well,
don't have him
actually, it's
anymore.
interesting. You say that, right? I spoke to Tabson in an interview on the first day of media, and I said, like, are you still that big that was like hardcore trying to find things and be like super prep heavy, find all these new nades and stuff? And he said, not really. Like, Tabson doesn't think that's how they are anymore.
Okay.
It's gone away from that. But they have keep changing coach. Like, coach changes, one or two players change, and even now they should have stabilized. They still got a coach change that came in, right? Kakafu went, and now they got Zen. And it's like, that how much time does that really buy you now to get things working again?
I
For
I
me,
mean I mean
not
they they're
much.
fall
They
they're
didn't make the
falling off the
major.
radar even. Like I don't think even
Yeah.
people are considering them when they go into an event like this, which
No.
is the sad part. I look at this and I'm like I look at Big as a name and I'm just like,
Mhm.
it's
Yeah.
they don't
Yeah.
excite me. They don't. And this is coming from like a Big that had Crimbo rumored to big teams,
Oh, yeah, he had an
staying on.
opportunity.
Yeah, and like Tabson obviously always being like one of the probably
Ride
the
or
biggest
die.
IGL name from that region. So I don't know where to put them. I don't really see that much hope either, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
Maybe if I mean, they need to get something clicking because they're gonna be
Mhm.
hovering in this. I don't know where they are, 20 top 30 mark, and I don't see them growing right now. Even though I'd say it's impressive they won against Aurora in the
Mhm.
first game, but
But that was an
they
Aurora who
lost.
just didn't connect.
Yeah, but they lost 2-0 and got absolutely demolished by TAS G2, which is, they got 13-7 and
With Taz, by the way.
13-4
With Taz.
with TAS
Yeah.
and a stand-in. That is just not acceptable. They should at least be
No.
pulling. This should be a 2-1 mapper. I'd understand
No,
if they
they
lost
shouldn't be
2-1
losing.
and it
They
was a
shouldn't be
miracle
losing.
from G2, but they should be winning. They should be.
Yeah. Do you know what? Sadly, I'm going from like bottom to top right now, mate. So we're going to have to go through the disappointments to start off here.
That's fine.
Payne, we've been positive since the start of the year about these guys. Okay, Ricks had to stand in, the coach, once
Yeah.
again, for like the first 2 out of 3 games. But they were at 1-1 at that point. Then DGT comes back, and you think that can save him. Even when DGT came back, it was still, I understand he's probably stressed. He gets his visa, then he has to come back, and it's like not great. But I'm going to say this now. This is like, I believed in their move of having DGT and Davideus come in,
Yep.
and they're very hyped about like this, but maybe the language is a real problem. Maybe this is like an issue that's going to plague them for some time. And the major's just around the corner. They said they're going to keep grinding and go through it. But it's like they're another team that could bleed points if they don't rectify this anytime soon.
Yeah. And to be fair, it wasn't really on DGT either. He played well. He was their
No,
top
no, I'm not
performers.
blaming him.
No, but it is something is definitely not going right.
The
But
team
I would
synergy for
also,
me.
yeah, but I would also give them a little bit more time. They haven't had him for too long, and
Yep.
you know they lost some matches. I mean, they lost against who was it? Odic. They lost
Yep.
against, which is another Brazilian team that
Domestic.
is yeah. So it's a domestic matchup. It was a close game. They lost it.
But Odic was also said on this interview, they were like, we're coming here for experience and we're basically going to pug it out. Like,
Yeah.
you shouldn't be losing to a team that's pugging it out.
No.
Especially with the individuals you have. And I actually rate Biguzera's in-game leading, but it's still rough. I'm disappointed with what I saw from them. Luckily, they're in stage 2 of the major, so they get to skip stage 1. I'm hoping they have a big boot camp beforehand. They've all got their visas as far as I know, so that's a positive sign for them.
But the one thing I will criticize Pain for, and this is, I mean, I personally don't think their Opera is on the level that it needs to be right now. I think,
but sometimes NQZ can beast. Sometimes,
yes,
and that's what gives me. I know,
what I
but
mean,
like,
though, but like this is the same conversation we're having about broken face. You know, he needs to be the one that is able to step up when they're struggling, and if he's on the lowest part of the scoreboard when they're struggling, and he's not on top when they're winning, something is wrong. You know, it can't work like that. You know, there's too much investment in that AWP, and I understand it's much harder in this meta to AWP, but maybe AWP less, rifle more. Something needs to change because there needs to be more impact from the AWPer in Pain.
Yeah. For G2, do we just skip this because of the Hunter thing? Like, Taz had to stand in for Hunter. We already touched on the visa a bit earlier in this.
I don't think this is a valid event. This is kind of like Liquid.
It's like Hades.
You know, like
we
don't even see G2.
No, it's even worse. It's even worse because like Hades standing in, and then Taz is now in the server. I joked with Snacks on camera that like, okay, Snacks, if Taz now has to go from coach into the team, he can lead, and Snacks, you can roll back the years. Some games, Snacks was fucking doming. Snacks was rolling back the years, and he actually told me I hadn't thought about that. That's a good idea. I don't know if that's what they decided on in the end, but like, fair play to them because like they still beat Big. Like you touched on it earlier. They beat M80. They took a map off of Odic, and they should have won the Odic game, by the way. That was disappointing. Like, even with Taz, I would have expected them to beat Odic, but they were almost in playoffs. It wasn't terrible.
It wasn't terrible. Showing, no. But at the same time, we're gonna judge G2 for this event. We're never gonna see this G2 ever again. Ever.
No. I hope not. I hope
so.
Imagine someone misses the plane at Dallas now, and we're just sat here saying this. Something happens, something goes wrong, and Taz is back again. Yeah. They're also, by the way, they're losing this amount of VRS points is not good for G2 either.
Like, I was thinking about that, but like it's almost better to just drop out because
it's just the VRS implications. Like, some points you might as well just say, yeah, I'm going to GG. But no, wait a second. If they forfeit games, they're also losing points.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, dear. All right, from G2, there's Odic, which I didn't expect anything from. They had mainly domestic games as well, if I remember. They got kind of lucky with this. So, beaten by Astralis, then they beat G2. They played Pain, Furia, and then got 2-0 by Aurora for that playoff spot. Aurora are so lucky that was their last game to make playoffs, by the way. Like, if that was any other team in the options with how well Aurora was not playing, I don't think Aurora would be in playoffs.
Well, to be fair, I think they would beat G2, right?
Yeah, but we wouldn't even know that they would get that matchup.
No, but that was one of the possible. They couldn't get NIP.
Or was it who is the other one?
So we had in the 2-2 game, right?
VP
so
as well.
VP, MIBR, NIP, G2, and Odic, right? What's the possibilities? you look, Aurora, they played. Where is Aurora here on the first? Okay, they played Big, they
Third
played
place.
Hotu,
Mm-hmm.
and they played NIP. That's correct. And they played Navi, which qualified. So they could have gotten
Yeah,
VP, Odic, G2, or MIBR, right? It's only NIP
it's
that
kind of crazy.
they couldn't get.
All right, so Odic, we will touch on Aurora later. VP, I keep saying they flip flop between events. Well, this is now back. Like Bucharest was okay, Melbourne was not good at all. They changed coach. They come to Astana. This is still not okay. You lose to NIP. You called that actually. Shout out to you. You predicted the NIP winning VP. I actually said no. This event VP will step up. VP did not step up. Wrinkle is so good, and I'm sorry, NIP as an organization, but I wish Wrinkle didn't resign for you so Navi could take him.
But also Shush, man, he was massive this event.
Oi, he got a new haircut. He came in fresh. I hadn't seen him in ages. We gave him a big hug when he came in. And I'm like, bro, it's been so long. And he's like, yeah, it's been a grind. You can see how happy he was to be back. And I'm sure that was a factor in his dominance because this guy went, you know what? I missed this shit. He goes, this is tier 1 events again. I'm not playing online. I'm going to come in and I'm going to show up. Fresh haircut, looking good, and smooth on the server as well. We'll come on to, we're skipping. We'll come on to NIP in a little bit.
All right.
But back to the VP disappointment. Yeah.
The Swiss system is a little bit messy to go through, though.
Yeah, it is hard. It is hard. But our viewers understand this. They're used to us rambling on through all these Swiss system tournaments right now. Still, by the way, PGL with the best format of any event. Even better than the major format. Major format should just copy what PGL are doing. But VP, they beat M80 2-1. They beat Big 2-0. They lost to Astralis. And then it's the losing to MIBR for the playoff spot that was unforgivable because they had that game. Like, they had him. And
this was a game that I did not watch.
Oh, dude. Because I was waiting to film content with VP, and because they lost, they didn't turn up to the content, which I understand. I'm not trying to make a team like come and play some 1v1 for my fun content I'm doing when you've just been smashed and knocked out the tournament. I'm just trying to. My internet, by the way, is terrible in this hotel. There's too many people in this hotel. It's a lovely hotel. Thank you, PGL. But the internet is fucking dog.
So I'm looking through this, and it looks like
it's Ancient was the last map.
So on Mirage, 13-11 loss, right? But it looks like VP had kind of destroyed MIBR's money to get onto an 11-11 scoreline and then losing 2 straight rounds. So this is what it looks like, that they lost like an anti-eco situation or half buy into losing the first map. Obviously destroyed them on Anubis. Ancient last map. VP were up. Was it?
They were styling on their CT side, and then it crumbled a bit, and they lost economy. And the last round, I felt like they should have won. I think it was a 2v1, and the guy was coming from B ramp. It was Safe. Safe clutched it 2v1. This is my memory trying to really kick in here, but I think Safe clutched it 2v1, and it's just a poor play from VP. You gave him 1v1s.
I'm actually rewatching it right now.
That's fine, as I wait for all my internet to load forever.
So MIBR, they have a 3v3 on the B side, 1 cave, 1 B ramp, 3v2 now for VP. They have 2 long. There's 1 T on the side. Safe is on in the... Okay. So it's a 2v1, right? And Safe went from cave to ramp.
Yep. Yeah, I'm right. This is good. My knowledge is still there.
And they are just thinking he's in cave the whole time. Flit 1v1 after Safe gets the first kill. Tries to hold the defuse. Safe just runs up and kills him with the op.
You see? Yep. You see? So he got it into 2 1v1s. They were super hyper-focused on cave. And it's like, fair play to MIBR for getting that. But it's like, that should have had OT written all over him.
Flit could probably, to be fair, have strafed long and killed in banana as I looked at it right now. But... that's another story.
Yeah. So I will say this. Finn, who's the new coach or VP, he told me in the lift, I understand now what really needs to be worked on because obviously this is his first event with a team.
Yeah.
So I'll give them a bit more time. But it's like Flamas was great on Game of Legion. VP needs to get him back on that form. Icy, I think he's still nervous at times. It's kind of sad we didn't get another Kazakhstani player in the arena.
Yeah.
Electronic told me he's being more kind to his players now, like he's trying to be less ragey. So he's trying to adapt and learn as an in-game leader. I hope that can happen because I think like Fame and Flick can probably handle it, but I don't think Flamus and Icy can handle it.
Yeah.
I don't think they're built like that to take that amount of rage and stuff, right? I think they need a softer touch. And I'm hoping Finn can be. By the way, Finn's like 40 something, old school 1.6 player, very smart mind on Counter-Strike, was part of the Gambit youngsters team going into Cloud9 as well. So he's worked with Electronic. If there's one coach I believe that can solve this,
young people as well, which is important.
Yes, exactly. And Electronic told me that Finn is more like good at working on the games of individual players as well. So I'll give them probably another 2-3 months. I won't even just say it has to be at the major, but like Finn needs to work some magic here in a big way.
And to be fair, they were extremely close of making it to playoff, even in the Astralis game.
Yeah.
It was a 19-17 overtime win for Astralis on Dust 2, 13-9 win on Inferno, then 13-9 win for Astralis Ancient. So they had plenty of opportunities to kind of clinch a win, one round away, 2 games in a row. So probably pretty tough for the VP squad, if I'm honest. That's one of those you remember and you kind of have PTSD growing in your body from.
For real. Oh, for real. All right, let's get into playoffs then. And I'll just run this from top to bottom. We'll start with Aurora on this. Aurora over the Mongols. I don't think we need to go into match specifics on this, but just we'll do it in placements. Actually, that'll make more sense. So Mongols goes out to Aurora. I'm starting to worry about Mongols because just getting to playoffs is not fine. Aurora, this was the battle of 2 teams that choke on stage for different reasons.
Yeah.
And the Mongols had a chance in overtime to take that Anubis away after getting splattered on their own map. That's the only way to explain it. Like, they got splattered. And Woxic was farming clutches left, right, and center. And Mazzinho, who's been the one who's underperformed for the Mongols for a lot of games, was the only one delivering in that whole series. And I'm thinking, something has to change in the Mongols. I don't know. Like, all I keep hearing is there's lots of Mongolian players. They're all grinding. They love Counter-Strike. Then there's got to be some other players you guys can look at here. Like, something has to change. I did the loser interview with Techno, and I love him because he's always rolled out to do his interviews alongside Mazzinho. And I just feel sad because he sat there going, it's on me, because he had a 0.6 rating or 6.2 rating, sorry. I'm working on one monitor here at my hotel room, by the way. And I just felt bad for him because you lose as a team, and the team failed as well. Like, it wasn't just him. There's no way I'm putting the onus on him there. And
I mean,
I was so hyped about them after Shanghai, man.
I have to kind of disagree with your take a little bit because I still think they come from, a region that hasn't had any history of having great teams in Counter-Strike. They've made history doing it. I know that, they've been at a spot where they could have grabbed more. That is true. But I think this is not, an Astralis or, NIP who has tons of experience at being at that level.
Yeah.
This is a learning experience for, 5 countrymen doing wonders, if we're all honest. I don't think we should put that high expectations of them. I think making playoffs is big enough at a European event because how many years have they been here? That it's not that long.
Yeah. But I feel like I honestly, mate, I feel like when I see the game sometimes, they have the potential to do more.
Yeah, they do.
If they don't this major, right, make playoffs, I would like to see them explore a change. I don't know if that's Mara goes into a different role. He should still stay with the All because he's been doing everything for Mongolian CS. Blitz moves into like a coach role and they find someone else in. I don't know how that
I'll
would
give them
work.
the year. I'll give them the year.
Okay, so you let's see. Devil gives them the year. I'll give them till if they make if they make playoffs at the major, then I don't see why they would change. But I'm just seeing there's not an improvement, and the players themselves are seeing there's not an improvement.
But sometimes, you know, all you need is a break, a little bit of time to reflect and tone down. I think they've kind
No,
of
no, no, no,
reached
no, no.
here and they need a little bit
Mm-mm.
of. Mm.
Okay. Love your optimism, but I'm going to hit you with some facts because
Okay.
there was a time, I think it was in Bucharest, and I was like, "Oh, guys, what have you been doing?" He's like, "Oh, we had 2 weeks at home." Mazzino was the only one playing CS because they were all enjoying time with their families and stuff, yeah, and girlfriends probably, whatever. I respect that. You need the time away. But then when they came back, they played like 2 games of practice in Europe in Bucharest. And they'd had all that time off, and nothing changed still.
Yeah,
So I'm like,
I get you. I get you, but I still think, you know, there's probably things they've learned that they want to change, but you can't make these like massive drastic changes without, you
okay."
know, it not being run into, you know, they're in a packed schedule. They're just going event to event to event. They can probably do small
By the way,
fixes,
they
but
said
they
yes to
can't
everything.
do, huh?
They're at every event. Mongols are
Yeah.
playing every event. Even Aurora took a break, and Mongols are still saying yes to everything. They're in Dallas right now as well.
Yeah, they're going like nuts. So to be
They
able to
they did a
change
show match in their
things
home country.
to able to change things at this point, I think it's
Yeah.
impossible for them. That's why I'm saying they need a break to tone things down and take the lessons
Mm-hmm.
they've learned from these playoff games. And I don't think they will necessarily improve at all during the season with how many events they're playing. But once there's a little bit of timeout, I think they can
Mm-hmm.
hopefully save some of these lessons that they've experienced and try to figure them out, you know, because I don't think it will happen right now.
Okay, I'll say this then. Minimum they need is a psychologist to help them as well, because there is some mental blocks going on there. But I don't know where they're going to find a capable Mongolian psychologist who's going to understand the Counter-Strike side of things as well. But that would probably help them. I think that is another thing that could work for them, because sometimes they're just completely out. They're checked out.
Yeah.
They're completely gone. So you're going to love this next part, I'm sure, because this is going to be my least favorite part of talking about this event. I would actually love to skip it, but it's not possible if I want to do the podcast properly. Na'Vi. Oh,
We had
my
some
God,
conversations
man.
while this was running.
Oh, my
Thanks.
God. Yeah. You want to leak our WhatsApp chat? Yeah, you
Yeah,
want to do
let's
that for
leak the
fun?
WhatsApp chat. All
I
right.
was so
So
confident we were winning. Oh my
obviously,
God.
nuke is happening. Astralis, they're making it to overtime. I'm telling
Mm-hmm.
Banks, I think Navi might lose this or they're losing. Banks is like, no way, they have this, they got it. There's no chance in hell they're gonna lose the next 2 maps. I'm like, yeah, but 2 maps, they might be able to take it here. They might be able to take it. And I think Ancient is one of those maps, though, as well. I didn't say this in our WhatsApp leak.
Oh, yeah, let's
But
just
it's
say it
one
now
of
then.
those maps where I don't like it's hard to be stable on it. Is that fair?
Yeah, I would never like Ancient to be a first pick. This is your go-to map in a series for sure. That was old Astralis' way.
Yeah, I think Ancient is a hard map because it's kind of watered down into everyone running the same things right now. So
Yeah.
it's tough, but obviously they did a pretty dominant start to that Mirage. Astralis kind of clawed their way back a little bit, got some belief,
Eh.
and then Ancient
Eh.
happened, and Banks was in
Oh.
tears.
Actually, tears, man. Wait, I'll just say this. Like, I was so confident with the Spirit Navi Grand Final that I got absolutely shock slapped by this one. So you have an 8-4 CT lead in case you've had CT side, but I believed in Alexi's calling on T side. And then they lose in overtime to this Hooksy version of Nuke, Hooksy's Astralis. The win back on Mirage was positive because if you remember, when they've lost maps in overtime recent times for Na'Vi, Melbourne, for example, they just crumbled and dropped off. So I was like, okay, game's on. They're going to be making it through to the semis. Ancient was abysmal. Like, you can't have that bad of a CT side for 5 players who have been together as long as you have, won as many. Like, this is a fact. Oh, and they said, why I have to relive this? Why do I do this show? Just go watch that Alexi B interview with me, exit interview, yeah. And some of the things he was saying makes me feel uncomfortable. Like, oh, last chance, no chemistry, you know? These are things you shouldn't be having a problem with right now. And he's like hoping the boot camp will solve things because they haven't had a boot camp since the start of the year. And I will say that, like, boot camps have always been a good thing for Blade's system and getting Na'Vi back on the right track. But when even, I don't know, what was the score Bit had on the... Bit dropped a 0.76 rating. He was a 0.39 rating on Ancient. This is
It's
crazy.
also one of these things where Wonderful has been criticized in the past, been the discussion of change in the past, and he's the one that actually stepped up this event.
Yeah, but I said this at the beginning of the event in the interview to Alexi, that to me it seems like this Na'Vi, every event, it's a new problem.
Yeah.
It's never the same problem, and that's horrible. So you might plug one hole, yeah? You know, like you got a bucket, loads of things are leaking out, and you go, like, stop that one, and then and you're like, oh no, and you're just getting wrecked by water the whole time. You need to call the plumber or something. Well, Blade's plumbing isn't working right now. And I will say, I love Blade. I'm such a Blade fan. But calling this event a tier 2 event is disrespectful because it's not a tier 2 event. It's not maybe a tier 1 because it's without like Vitality, maybe. Falcons, Miles, it's 1.5. But I guess he was just pissed that he lost the way he did, because that was like your grand finals to have. And bro, do you know what actually went through my mind for the first time? How long did we say that? Like, we did it on the Munacy episode of the podcast. Oh, Bit will never be leaving Na'Vi, you know, like he's the Na'Vi boy. I'm wondering if he's just, no one knows this rumor yet. Everyone's talking about Kyosuke, which we'll come on to later, or Kyosuke, as we keep doing. By the way, Maui agrees with Kyosuke. But just imagine this, that actually the shock move is both Tesses and Magiska getting kicked, Kyosuke and Bit then join. Could you, like, is this the world I'm living in? I'll be a Falcons fan at that point.
If we're just gonna talk a little bit more about Na'Vi and their, like, the chances for the majors doesn't look great. They look like they have the stints where, you know, like this Mirage, where they just look dominant as like hell. They're just running through their opponent. Every call is working. Every play makes sense. And then all of a sudden they just fall flat. Like, they're doing nothing on the server. I was never worried that they would lose Mirage. But at the same time, you know, they had a 10-2 lead. Did they win Pistol as well on CT? Yes, they won Pistol as well. So they had 11-2 lead. And they ended up with a 13-8, right? So they gave that space. They had everything going for them. And they kind of, in this series, probably gave Astralis a little bit of belief, you know, with this map going into the third one. So if they could have shut that down and just smacked them in the face and gone into Ancient with a little bit more momentum, I think things could have probably turned out differently. But it feels like they kind of just lose their air, like this wasn't good enough, and then all of a sudden everything falls down.
And I'll say this, right, is that there was a comment mentioned, and I think this was from the interview, about like needing to come. I don't want to misquote Alexi, but it was in my mind something about like coming back down to reality, like being humbled. Well, they have been humbled now at multiple events. Making playoffs at this event is just not good enough. We spoke about the level of teams here. You should be in the finals alongside Spirit. Like, that is where we're putting Na'Vi always. And I'll give all the respect to Astralis, but this is just not good enough for a Na'Vi that was the best team in the world last year. And the fall off has been so huge that people just need to get their, I don't know, I'm going to say it, but egos in check.
Yeah,
Like
but it is that, and it's
play
interesting
together.
the way you mentioned that, because I've been through the same situation with like even back in the day when we won the major. Like one of our
Yeah.
biggest issues that we actually ended up facing after was that we thought we were so much better than what we were. So after a break, we come back, we think we're the best team in the world, that no one else has improved or jumped ahead. We go into games,
Yeah.
we expect to win them. We don't fight to win them. We're not happy when we win round. It's expected. We're just flat in our faces when we win rounds, and we're tilt as fuck when
Mhm.
we lose them. And you're just spreading that
And
like,
everyone's hating on each other.
yeah, but you end up with this like every situation that goes wrong, you're annoyed at someone, you're putting that
Yeah.
energy out there, you're killing the team, or I say team speak, but the voice comes in some sense, because
Yeah.
if you're like just receiving this like, I mean, everyone knows you can feel energy in some senses. Sometimes words don't
Bro,
even need
I'm
to
on
be
a stage, I feel
spoken,
that
you know?
energy all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's like if you're getting that all the time when you're playing, you feel like someone's always watching you, like every step you're making on the server is being watched and judged. There's no trust because of that
Mm-mm.
bad energy, right? Someone's tilt every fucking round. You just like, like calm down, and they need to like,
Yeah.
as you say, they need to get back on the ground and realize this is how good we are. We're in the bracket
Yeah.
of not competing for titles right now. How do we get into that bracket again? What did we do right when we went to that major? Exceeded expectations with this lineup. What did we do? So like tone it back, get into that mode of like we have to fight our way up there. Because right now it feels they almost look like they're always either disappointing each other or themselves all the time.
Yeah, and the frustration's starting to show as well,
Yeah.
which is a real problem, which was not a great look. But I honestly think no matter what happens with this Navi, there'll at least be one, maybe two changes off the back of the major. I have no information on that. That's not a rumor or something. That's just my personal feeling
It
that
looks
this
like two changes
current
is
Navi
needed.
is done. Yeah, yeah. Like, and guys, Blade is so smart that if we're thinking this, he's already looking at it, and he just has to wait until that major ends and they can rejig things and see what happens and breathe some new life into it. Like if it's personally for me, yeah, it's so hard to know what to cut. Like you're keeping Alexi for sure. I can't see him being a problem, but anyone else is up for debate depending on what Blade wants and what other pieces he could bring in. It's like who you take out and what upgrade you could get. Where's the margins here for improvement?
Obviously, the
And
market is
that'll
gonna
only be known
dictate that
after.
a lot, you know.
Yes, and that's
But
and where
the
people
key
just say
thing,
like, "Oh, yeah,
the key thing is they do have Blade, and a lot of players want to experience what it is like to play on the Blade system. That's just a fact.
Monacy,"
Yeah.
but you can't
As an
buy him now.
example,
Fuck.
one of the best players in the world does one
Mhm.
day want to be in this system. So there is hype from that perspective. Not
Yep.
and I think Navi, that's kind of the biggest one for Navi is Blade. That you want to
Yeah.
learn from Blade, you want to understand Counter Strike like
Puppet
Blade.
Master.
Yeah, and it's a big drawing power. It's not like
Yeah.
some other big orgs in the past who's been put into this position, like the NIPs and Astralis, where all of a sudden there's no drawing power from other people other than the brand
Mhm.
itself. Now you have someone that you know people feel like I can learn Counter Strike from him and become a better player, and that's
Yeah.
a tool they need to use before it's too late.
100%. Um, Next one we can look at is MIBR. Obviously, they do lose to Furia. They lost to Fury in the group stage as well.
Yep.
The crazy thing is, right? This MIBR, 4 out of 5 players, only Safe has actual stage experience. This was the first big arena event for the rest of the team. X has been on the MIBR for 4 years and never hit a big arena.
That's kind of
Like,
crazy.
there has been so much up and down disappointment for this MIBR. They've just kind of been coasting through it. They've got a hugely, insanely good talent like Insani, but it's never all come together at the right time. I expected this result, even with Molodoy having his first arena event. It's like everyone else on Fury has experience, and then the crowd is fully on their side. I
Yeah.
respect MIBR's attempt and fight, but you were never winning this game. And the fact you made playoffs was like that, like we spoke about earlier with the VP thing. that was just a good thing. I don't think
Yeah,
there's too much else to touch on there. Like, fair play, you got that far, you know?
yeah, I agree with that.
Ninjas though, Jesus. Oh, like I honestly, I respect it and I highly praise it because they didn't have easy games.
No,
Yeah.
they did
They
not have easy games.
They did not have easy games. They did not bow down from any fight. They started against VP. They pulled off the upset, right? That you called. You got that perfectly right. And and then Spirit, obviously, they did damage to him, right? It wasn't a map, but you had him in overtime. You probably should have won train. That was in group stage. You get smashed on Dust too, you know. Donkey's like a monster. CT side just running up mid, just walking over everyone. That's what he does best. You then lose to Aurora. And honestly, at that point, I thought they're kind of screwed. I thought they got a game. Yeah, they won against VP. That's a great amount of BRS points for a team that desperately need it. They get Hoto after that, 2-0. Not too bad. You get a G2 with Taz. Okay. The points they got from the G2 win is probably very good.
I'll even
And
check.
then you face, yeah. Tell me how many points they got because their jump up must have been astronomical. They were like 40 rank, 40 or something like that before.
Can you see it on HLTV page?
It's
Well,
difficult. Everything's
I'm not
difficult with
seeing it
this.
right now, but either way, it's a huge amount of points. They probably got something around like
Yeah.
40 points, like probably doubled their points by that game.
And that's so important for a team. And do you remember that I said this on the intro for them? This is the most impressive run of any team at the event because they didn't go through a closed qualifier. They came through an open qualifier. Then they won the open qualifier into winning the closed qualifier to get a spot here and finally play another tier 1 event. That Philadelphia win they had probably helped them as well, getting some experience on LAN again.
Yeah.
And yeah, you get Spirit in the first game. Spirit going to win the tournament. But once again, like, even if it was on stage, they made it competitive on that Dust 2. I actually thought they were going to win that Dust 2
Yep.
because, like, Spirit showed that they could improve on the train game and they didn't let it go to
I
overtime.
mean,
They held their own.
if we're fair, it looked like everything was going NIP's way because they had 10-3. They won pistol. If they would have converted that pistol, not lost the anti-eco,
Yeah.
it would have been game on. But to be honest, like Spirit, what do they do in this CT side? They just went like, essentially, fuck this, and just started running in their faces. Donk pushing straight up mid, just
Yep.
getting 3Ks after 3Ks, and NIP had no answer. They could not get anything, done to stop Donk at that point. I
Yeah.
think he even picked up the AWP a couple of times. He was just like, let's just play skill. Let's just play skill.
Mm-hmm.
And they just went straight to their faces. And yeah, that's when you could see the kind of skill difference or team difference that was in this game. They kind of
Yeah.
let them play too strategical, and then all of a sudden, Donk got pissed and just went for it.
He's just like, you know what? I'm not going down like this.
Yeah.
It's not happening. But I will say respect to NIP. I want to see him at more events now. That's actually become an exciting team to look at. I'll even look at some of their games outside of these events to see what they can do. But they've gained themselves some valuable points coming into the next season, which will help them get invites. And that's like, for me, I said if they could win 2 games, it's happy days. Making playoffs is jobs done. Thanks for the points. Finally, we get to see some nip in action again. All hope is not lost. All hope is certainly not lost.
No,
But
they were
an even
exciting.
bigger surprise, even bigger excitement, even bigger surprise was Furia.
Yep.
4th place for a Brazilian team, first time speaking English, and they bring a rookie Orpa in. By the way, just to let you know, Molodor's name is Young, translation, right? So he is the young Kazakh Orpa. He is Molodor, the Kazakh Orpa. And this is just my feel-good story of the event, bro, because they beat Gamer Legion, MIBR, Odic, MIBR again. People can look at that and say, okay, they played 3 Brazilian teams, MIBR twice. This run's not legitimate. I'll give you that. They took a map off Mongols. They beat Gamer Legion. But then when we get to playoffs, There was honestly, I started rooting for them to take down Spirit. I was on this hype train of like, you win train, you can do it now on Nuke. Like anything is possible, Furia. Fallen, Rifle suddenly, God mode. And it's so funny because him and Yakinda, depending on what's going on, like Fallen will entry, Yakinda will entry. Like this is a scary way of playing CS.
And I was sitting there straight after that Astralis Aurora game, watching Furia Spirit, and I was thinking,
yeah,
what the hell? Are we gonna get an Astralis Furia Grand Finals?
It's 2019.
It was mind-boggling to me that was even a possibility, and it got close.
Yep.
And obviously scary. They played really well. I have to say, like they played really well. The entire best of 3, even though they got outclassed in the end. They had chances.
Doesn't matter, man.
Yeah, they barely had any practice coming into this. I mean, with so many changes, with the language barriers because I think Molodoy is not really proficient in English right now. So he has Yakinda kind of translating it sometimes, which is just really weird.
You also have Yuri, by the way, who's not perfect with English when it comes to communicating in game. Like the way Yakinda explained it to me is that like Molodoy, Yuri, and Kesarato are all having English lessons right now.
Yeah. All right.
So they're all going through like learning together. Yakinda's helping translate anything Molodoy needs to understand things. Obviously, Fallen's done the interviews for like 10 years now. He's God mode at English. He's got like American English.
He's also played in American teams.
Yeah, he's so well spoken with it. But if people just look at the Spirit game and write them off, and then look at the fact that they played like lesser teams, I will just say that I'm more excited about this Furia than I've been excited about Furia since 2022. 2021, maybe.
Ever since they made this Cello Skulls lineup.
Yeah.
I think in the beginning there was hype, and then it kind of fell off very quickly.
Very quickly. Very quickly. And Yakinda's back, by the way. He said he switched. So, you know when he was slumping on Liquid?
Yeah.
This is a wild story, by the way. So he's always been a 1920 by 1080 player, full HD, he calls it, yeah? And that's why he sits so close to the monitor, like, bro, you're going to need glasses soon. Like, your eyesight's going to be worse than mine. And he was slumping, so he switched to 4x3. I guess, like, he was having such a bad slump, but his mental was gone a bit that he did that. And he obviously had the break from Liquid. He was still playing. He was thinking about starting like his own project, and he then just like didn't go through with it. He gets this opportunity of a loan from Furia. He switches back to full HD, and under Fallen's calling, and obviously the respect he has for Fallen, he's happy again. He looks like he's been in the gym again as well. He's lost some weight. Like, this looks like a happy Yakinda who has got like a new yeah, and probably a nicer environment to be in than the one he was in at that particular time. Because I think when he went from IGL into playing again in a normal role, you know, there was a lot of animosity. There was a lot of problems that we've learned about that Liquid at the time. And it wasn't problems with him, but it's probably hard to play in that environment. So right now, he's coming to this, no pressure, on loan, doesn't matter what the future holds. Fallen in a HLTV interview says like, I want to keep Yakinda already. And that's before we even knew that Yakinda was back. And he's not back to his ultimate level. He's not back at like, you know, he's doing VP things, Yakinda.
But there's definitely signs of it.
Positive signs. Yeah, bro. Some of the peaks he was making, I'm like, that's Yakinda. Yeah, that's nice. That's fucking good, man. And then on top of that, he's like holding the hand of Molodoy to take him through all of this crazy moment. And Molodoy as well is like, you can't hate him, man. I just like, I DM'd him, yeah. And I'm going to read the DM out. I'm not going to leak anything crazy here, but I'm going to leak what he said. So I said, I hope you're enjoying these moments, brother. It's so special. Not many players get to experience what you're experiencing right now on stage, you know, with like this kind of crowd. And he said, thank you very much for your support. I am very happy and surprised that you support me, although you know me very little. Thank you so much. Like, I told him straight that if Fallen's chosen you, I said, like, if Fallen's chosen you, yeah, there's a damn reason for it. Yakinda was
Yeah.
very positive about you, and I trust these two guys who I've known for a long time and done many interviews with. And dude, he took the microphone from the translator, yeah, and just sat there full bossing it. And you could see like he's 20 years old. He's nervous. He's like, the whole crowd's chanting his name. I was trying to get the crowd behind him as much as possible, and they were fantastic. And he performed on stage against MIBR. He put up a fight going into the game against Spirit. I'm not looking at his rating. I'm looking at the eye test of like some of the shots he can hit. There was only one moment where I looked at it. He went for about 3 no scopes in a row, and I was
Oh,
like,
that's on
I
you.
know you want to. Yeah, I was like, I know you want to hit this, bro, but just stop, please. I was like, fucking hell, man, just scope once and just hit someone. But he even said today on the fourth place losing game, because they should have beaten Aurora, by the way, with like how they were playing. But he said, I put too much focus on like wanting to win and wanting to do well here, and I actually respect that he's already realized, and that's probably because he's
Mm.
got so many experienced players around him that he's overcooked this. But he has a bright future in the sense of how I'm looking at this, of what I saw on the eye test, the players that's going to be around him, the players who believe in him, bro. When he was like, is it Mirage? He was like 3-10 or something, and they're still dropping him new up and telling him like, we believe in you, go do
Yeah.
your thing.
No,
That's
it's
fucking respect.
yeah, it's such a luxury to have these kinds of players around you at such a young age and get this experience so
Mhm.
young. He's gonna be, a beast going forward if he can,
Yep.
garner some of that fallen professor knowledge. There's a
For
bright
real,
future for
man.
him for sure. And I think we
Yeah.
we saw a nervous kid on stage. We saw a nervous guy playing Counter Strike on a big debut LAN for him,
Mhm.
and he wasn't incredible, but he was doing really well considering all of these things. So
Yeah, I'm a
if he
fan.
can kind of tone down a bit, feel, a little bit more confident, not be carried
Yep.
away in these moments like he mentioned, he's for sure gonna be hitting a lot more shots and do well on the server. So Furia, big excitement actually. Something
Yeah.
I did not think going into this event. Was probably very pessimistic about them. So
Same.
they overshot the expectations, you know,
And
from
they're on
space
their way
and
to Dallas right now, by the
yeah.
way, for Mongols opening the game. So like the party don't stop here for them. I'm excited to see what they can do in Dallas. Um, Next up, Aurora. I've already said a lot on my opinions of Aurora, so I just want to ask you straight out, like, what do you make of this? Because it's so up and down.
I mean, we're gonna. I think
Third is
one
okay.
third is okay. Yes,
You had them in the final
I had them predicted in the finals,
against
um,
Spirit.
which wasn't far off. I'd say,
Almost.
but
Almost. They threw.
to be fair, they're lucky they're even in the semis at this point. They had a rocky group stage. It looks like people have kind of caught on how they play. They I don't know. I don't know if it is that they're easy to prep against or something like that. I've seen comments out
Oh,
there where people have been saying that. So there is something that needs to be spiced up for them
yeah.
in terms of how they play. Maybe throw in a few more gimmicks in there to, you know, maybe in the fourth line of this is like kind of reading the opponent's mind in the terms of the prep. What's the easy thing to do against us, and what's the easy counter to that?
Yeah.
And just kind of mixing things up so they don't stand on a really really solid prep basis and can just beat you, so that you kind of
Mhm.
prepping against their prep in some way in some extreme mind game play, which is possible,
Yeah.
definitely possible. So something needs to, because they're good enough, they are good enough, but they're not consistently getting there, and they're having problems in stage matches. And I
But
don't
they
know
did
if it
overcome it
is.
somehow.
Yeah,
Like, how do
but
you do
but
so
did they?
badly in the groups? Okay, you did so badly in the groups. You then beat the Mongols on stage, so they finally got the first ever stage win. But then you had Astralis. They had Astralis by the neck, yeah? And they were like, this is our game. And
I mean, I'm
then,
gonna go through
no.
a little thing in a short bit, which might explain a little bit about Aurora.
Yeah, but you said right, they're easy to prep for. Madra told me, because obviously they had like 3 weeks off playing officials between Bucharest and Astana. They didn't play anything. It's actually a month off. Sorry, if you look from the last game of Complexity to the first game they played against Big.
Yeah.
And Madra then told me, oh yeah, we've like been able to rejuvenate our playbook a bit and stuff. And I'm thinking, it didn't look like that. It just looked like the same old Aurora that connected to the server. I didn't see changes. I didn't see you adapting to things. And
I mean, they definitely, if I look at them, they look like, so there's always like, there's two ways to call, right? There's spawn calling and there's, mid rounding, right? And
yeah.
and Aurora definitely looks like a spawn calling team. I'll say that. It does not look like they're adjusting on the fly too much. They might have some protocols that are different from the same situations, but it does look like everything is rigged from the start of the round. To me,
Yeah.
in a lot of these
So you can know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
So some patterns need to change.
Do you take it as a win result for them? Because like third is really, I had them like third, fourth. So I'm okay with this.
I
It's
think
just
this
the
is
group stage is
acceptable.
very worrying.
I don't think
Okay. Acceptable is a good word.
Yeah, I think it's acceptable. I don't think they should be dancing on tables or anything, but
Definitely not.
they shouldn't be
I saw Magic
putting
just
their
now.
head in
He's
the
boarding
sand
his
either.
shuttle.
No, but I think it's acceptable.
By the way, Zontara still finishes like the highest rated player for them during the event, but I still wanted so much more from him. Like it's still to me, like in some games, I need more Zontara's Magic coming out. He's not a problem, but it's just because of the caliber of player he is and how good he can be. I still think like sometimes he needs to be the one backing up Wicadia and Woxic, who's my new favorite duo of this Aurora team. Like they're the ones that are.
I mean, all
Before it
of
was
them
just
can
Woxic
have
and
moments.
Zontaras.
I mean, even Jota can.
Yeah, even Madra.
Yeah, all of them can have moments. Like Major is a super good clutcher, for example, for being an in-game leader. Incredibly good at that. And they have all the pieces. It's just there's something missing, and my presumption is that it's from how they play the game and approach the game, that they're maybe a little bit too set in the way they do things, that once you get a read, you read it.
Actually, you know what? Madra's someone I'd love for us to get on the podcast. I might have to talk to him about that because I think he'd be really up for it.
Yeah.
Actually have longer time to talk with him, not these short interviews we do on events, and then try and understand more of this.
It would be super cool. He's such a nice guy, man.
And we're all in a similar age.
Yeah.
We're all in the same understanding. You'd be the only one without kids in that episode.
True.
But not for long.
Well, we'll see.
All right. I'm just throwing you under the bus. There's nothing happening. I don't think he's pregnant. I mean, I don't think your missus is pregnant.
Nothing is planned.
Not yet. But nothing ever plans, It doesn't have to be planned. It can just happen. Magic can always happen in the right mood, the right atmosphere. All right, let's get on to the final two teams here because we've done a lot on this because Astana was wild and I got some closing thoughts on the whole event. Astralis, second place.
Yep.
This is an organization that has struggled and all of its failures have had huge consequences. We're talking about their organization trying to sell the team, close up the whole company, move on. They bring Hooksy in, who they probably should have brought in over Cadian from the beginning. And they go to second place and they challenge Spirit a fair bit. And I'll just say that never did I expect to be in Kazakhstan with Hooksy getting his name chanted. And he's also come back. Let me tell you this. It doesn't show so much in the Astralis shirt. When we, this is going to sound really weird, when we touched, when we, bro hugged or whatever you want to call it, he's been gym. He's got muscles. He's looking strong. He's looking healthy. He's looking happy, and he called a good game, and he hit heads better than he ever hit before. When I was seeing Hooksy kill Donk, I was like, oh, shit. We're really cooking with this one. people can call it a honeymoon or it's just new or it's a fluke or whatever. Bro, what the CS I watched was great calling from Hooksy and a team that were listening. And finally, Stown performed on a stage.
Yeah,
Jesus.
I think there's vast differences. I'm not going to go into too many of my thoughts just yet. We're going to have a discussion about this very, very soon. But yeah, there's vast differences both on T side to CT side. Um, that they're not as all in. They're more structured. They're more
Yeah.
controlled. I think they use their utility a lot better. And they don't necessarily just need to kill everyone to win rounds. It feels like.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it's a I would say almost polar opposite to how Cadians Astralis look like.
Yes. Massively. Massively. Do you want to get into our brand new segment now? Is this the perfect time
I
to
think
do it
it's
when we're talking
a
Astralis?
good timing.
All right. Let me do my intro then. So, guys, we said we're going to deliver new stuff for you, fire stuff for you. It wouldn't come from me. It has to come from the mastermind with the biggest brain here, the one who actually has 2 majors under his belt, one as a player, one as a coach. So this is our first ever Devil walkthrough. What a name. Shout out Zach MP4 one time for giving us this amazing name.
Yeah, so I'm
This
gonna
is Devil
instruct
Walks
you
Look.
to look at the video I'm sharing you
I'm
on.
watching.
Yeah, you're watching.
Cadians Astralis. We got this up right now. Okay, I'm seeing it.
So essentially, what I want to go through is I want to
Wait a
just
sec, my hand's
pinpoint.
going up a second. Can I ask questions throughout this?
Absolutely, but
Lovely. Thank you, teacher.
it's a 5 minute moment. We can pause, we can discuss, we can talk about things as we
Lovely.
run through this. But
I'll make it full
essentially,
screen.
just to give you guys an overview, I'm gonna run through some clips. I'm gonna explain some of the differences. Hopefully, visually show them to you so you understand
Mm-hmm.
and can see the differences. So, first of all, we're gonna watch here. I'm gonna start the video. I'm gonna watch a little bit on 2D here
Okay.
of Cadians Astralis opening. This is against Virtus Pro in the PGL Bucharest. You can see they have Staven kind of running out short. They have Cadian running lower. Jabi kind of solo in B with Cadian kind of taking that control from mid. So they're putting themselves out in a very like aggressive start.
Yeah.
You see they got an entry on long, kind of running through it. They have control. It's very, very all in. This is another round, exact same start, their second
Yep.
weapon round of this game. They're running through. Cadian's going lower. They got Jabby leg shotted. He went into B. They have 2 men taking long, and Staven with full utility, kind of being aggressive solo on short.
Mm-hmm.
And now, just to give you a visual example of how different it actually is, we're going to go into a Hooksy Astralis against the exact same team in this Astana event.
Ooh.
The first weapon round,
Okay.
this is how it looks. They have a 3-man long take. They go, they take it, they secure it, and they actually go 2 people straight into B. They're not staying in lower, they're not going aggressive, they're not putting any players really at risk during the start of the
Yeah.
round. And here's another round, same start, 3-man long. They're just throwing some utility early on in middle, and they're transitioning into that 2B setup. But the big thing here is you look at Staven's position. He's
Mm-hmm.
not been aggressive. He had a full pocket on Cadians Astralis where he was aggressive, took risks. He could have died with that full pocket of utility. Here we see him
Yeah, because
jiggling.
he was out on short last
Yeah.
time, right?
Here we see him
Yeah, so now
jiggling
he's just
on
watching.
short, on timing at 1 minute. He throws a smoke short. They're blocking with utility. The good thing is he has the mollo and he has the nade where he can, if someone flashes through, he can mollo, nade, so no one pushes through and punishes him, right? He can be,
Yeah.
recover into a setup to block. Now, Virtus Pro, they want to do an A split here. But they're getting blocked off from the molly. They're doing some mid to B smokes, and they have 3-man at long.
Mm-hmm.
But Staven still, at 25 seconds, they don't have anyone short yet. They have to run with
Yep.
bomb and 2 rifles out long here, and they have a setup. The round is over before it's even started. They don't have the punish.
Yeah.
from the short guys because it's taken them too long, and they essentially just win the round, even if Icy would have gone out there, killed the Vice, killed the second guy. I don't even think he has time to cross over to A to plant. So just win out of pure utility, not aggression, right?
Delaying, yeah. It's a smarter play.
And here I want to kind of showcase. So I'll pause a little bit and I'll
Mm-hmm.
explain what I saw when watching through these demos in comparison on the T side. So this is like a normal thing that I kind of look for when I'm in a team is I look for a
Yeah.
specific timing of when the enemy in-game leader likes to do executes or end rounds or start his
Mm-hmm.
end rounds. Because if you have that timing, you can tell your players, okay, they like to end on like 55. That's when you need to use your Molotovs and block utility and kind of punish them when they're doing strategies, right? So the big
Yeah.
difference is Cadian's Astralis would end rounds around 55 seconds. Here we see Hux's Astralis as an example. They have taken out close mid control. They have, they're securing short control. They have people spread out on the map. They have, Stav and top mid jiggling short to see any pushes. They've Jabby in B, Stare and Huxi, covering that short control with device. He's peeking mid. See if anyone punishes. They're keeping the
Yep.
control and running the strat here. It's 35 seconds is when they start their end strat. That's 20 seconds difference. Seat is going to have less Molotovs. They had no chance to rotate into place, and they get perfectly split. With Huxi blocking the A rotations, they know they cannot be fast behind from long because when they started the strategy, no one was pushed from that control, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it gives you several things. One is you can punish people who are overeager that want to rotate into reads. It's much harder. They're not
Yeah.
giving away sound cues, and they're not going for all ins, right? As a 5 group, just throwing utility and then things happen, right? It was a good small little fake, still had purpose with them jumping into CT, right? And they get the perfect split timing on the B side, right? So that's one
Yeah.
big difference. Here, I want to kind of highlight a little bit more. So this is the game against Aurora on Nuke, where
Nuke.
Astralis
Nuke.
was dominating Aurora on the CT on their CT side, right?
Yep.
Um, so they won
Was
every
it
single
9
round.
CT rounds in a row? Yeah.
Yeah, they won every single CT round, right? And one of the big things here is you can clearly see as I play this round that Astralis has a read. They're essentially playing 3 people inside, 2 people ramp constantly in this round. And what
Mm-hmm.
I want to really highlight is the utility. At 1 minute, they still have 2 smokes left inside, which they're going to use here. We're going to see Huxi. He's going to smoke doors as he spots one. That's probably an indication, okay, they probably want to end inner because of that spot. And they know there are people outside main. They know no one crossed or not the majority crossed because Staven broke the molly. We see Jota. He
Yep.
makes a pretty weird play here. But what Aurora don't know is that Jabbi has an extra smoke at 35 seconds left in the round, right? They start their
It's a
end round
re-smoked
strategy here,
door.
re-smoke door, flash door, and they're in a really awkward position here. Are they going to wait for this smoke? They can't wait for this smoke. Are they going to run out hut? Jabbe is on top of hut. They have everything secured. And
Yep.
during this time, Astralis can make both rotations inner and get into this death triangle, hut, CT vent, and heaven, and just destroy them. And there's no chance for Aurora to win this round going inner.
Can I ask this though, right? So
Yeah.
obviously Jota smoked A main, yeah, which is the kind
Yes.
of random thing you
This was a
said.
mistake.
But yeah, that was obviously a mistake. But couldn't they have wrapped Heaven? Is
They
that an
could have
option?
absolutely
Or
done
was
that.
the ramp guy holding that?
But one of the things, like why I mentioned that Aurora is kind of a spawn call based team, is because of these
Yeah.
situations, right? It's because they are kind of stuck in their way. It feels like they're just waiting in place for when they are
Mm-hmm.
doing the strategy rather than playing the round out. So I
Yep.
feel like Astralis had a read, they're blocking that read, and Aurora just feel like lost. They don't know what to do at this situation. They know that they're gonna go 3 in main and 2 outdoor, and that's kind of set. That's how it feels when I'm watching it.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Everything
so
was known.
yeah, So
Yeah.
that could be one of the issues that Aurora has, but also this is, one of the strengths that has come with Huxley coming into Astralis, that both their CT rounds are much, much slower, their T rounds are much, much slower. They feel way more composed, it's not as gambly, it's not putting their players at as much risk.
Yeah.
So,
Dude,
yeah,
that was awesome.
that was
That
the
was
Devil
awesome.
walkthrough.
That's a great way to show it. The first ever Devil walkthrough. Let us know in the comments, wherever you're watching at, what you thought of that. I'm happy. I got to ask questions. I got to learn a bit as well. And that's why we got your big brain here with us the whole way through on this. I'll ask you this then, right? For me, Astralis had Huxley on loan. They've got no future events. They didn't make the major. They're not going to Dallas. They're in a rough spot. We know all the bad things about the organization. Surely they try to keep him.
Yeah,
Surely
I think
there's no way you don't.
There's no one else on the market that can turn a ship around like Astralis,
No.
like Huxley did right now.
Mm-hmm. Give him that
that's just
contract.
facts. Just sign him up
Yeah.
already. Imagine him actually working with them for a longer period of time. They looked like they loved the time, even when they were losing against Spirit in the final. They had smiles on their faces. They
Yeah.
were enjoying the time. I think I mean, what can you say? They made a grand final for the first time since 2019. Just sign him.
Yeah. Yeah, just sign him. There you go, Astralis. You must sign him. By the way, I saw him in the lobby before coming to here because I was saying goodbye to
Yeah.
everyone, saying I'm about to go film this. And he just said, like, it was so good to see me. And I said, bro, it's so good to see you back. You're still happy. You're still shining through things. You're still pushing off all the haters. Like, I am a Huxley fan.
I've always been a Huxley fan.
I
Since he
respect
took that
him.
Copenhagen Flames lineup.
Yeah.
He
2021 major, baby.
Yeah, but they were like ranked 10, 12, beating like top teams were scared of them. They were annoying as
Yeah.
hell to play against. I competed against them a lot in that kind of like tier 2 scene back in those days. It was a really annoying team to play against. And
he's reunited with Jabby again. I saw them two like going on to. They were doing the walk-ins together, and they're just joking with each other and having fun. It's beautiful, man.
Yeah, I think it's so deserved as well. With especially coming out with Monacy interview that we did, and he got a little bit of stock
a lot
back
of praise
from hearing from Monacy, and kind of just this opportunity then kind of rising for him. I just love it because you can see the impact he has, and everyone's been bashing him about like frags, but does frags really matter when you're actually winning games?
Bro, I don't care if the result is still a win, unless you're literally doing nothing, then you can't really hate on it.
No,
you can't hate on it at all.
There's so many differences. We could make this like Devil walkthrough like an hour-long video about Astralis because there is significant changes in a very short period of time, and I just hope he gets to cook for a little bit longer, and maybe we can actually see this Astralis that we've been hyping up with Device being back, and all of these things that's just kind of been there simmering for a long while until we kind of forgot about it.
Well, I'll just end this for Astralis. It's Huxley's world. It's Huxley's Astralis, and we're all just living in it right now. That's the way it
truly
goes.
Is the Giga Chad.
He fully is, man, and the crowd loves him. He is an honorary Kazakh, just like me. I should have given him my robe at the end of it all. Do you know what? We're coming to Spirit now. Obviously, they went on to win the whole event. I'm not as happy that they won. I'm happy they won. It's great for them. But the way they won, I'm still got some concerns about them, especially when facing other teams. There's a few things I'll start with this, yeah? Groups was clean. 2-0 everyone. Didn't drop a map. 2-0 NIP. They drop a map to Furia. It's the train, right? Very good, well played from Furia. Losing Mirage to Astralis was fucking diabolical. And you could see the frustrations come through. And then they almost lost Train, which could have seen us going to 5 maps.
Yeah.
And I honestly would be worried because of Astralis' Ancient being quite good, that could have been a whole different change of things. But luckily, Donk decided to take fights in A main. Like he just ran with some confidence. He woke up a bit on Train after a pretty rough
he was
first
just
half for him.
And just said like, let me just go and kill them.
Like he's like, I'm not
It's like
listening anymore.
they're
He didn't
not
say
that
this. This
good.
is my
I can kill
mind.
them.
Yeah. Let me do what I do best, boys. Let me go and wreck heads. And even if sometimes he'd lose a fight, like the space he creates by just making that push does open up opportunities for the rest of his team. But I'll just say this. I've had so much people just don't understand this, yeah. They're hating on Donk for his interview where like I said, oh, people are cheering your name, like Donk, Donk, Donk's being screamed. And he's like, I don't care. Just for you guys to understand, he's not an asshole. Donk is a cool guy, but he's a true competitor. Like he is most competitive. If anyone's ever read Mamba Mentality, amazing book, by the way. This is the same thing I'm thinking for Donk. He will be harsh on himself. He will be harsh on his team if the result was not good enough for him. For him, yes, they won, but it shouldn't have been this hard. You shouldn't have had to fight this hard, you know? He should have been able to win with ease, and he should have done better personally, probably what he thinks in his head at times, you know? And yes, the crowds love him, the fans love him, but this guy cares about the trophy. He doesn't care about the MVP. He cares about taking that trophy and his team playing well. And I think what he, this is again my just opinion based on what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
Because, dude, even some guy, I saw some idiot go, oh, Banks has asked the same question on an interview to him, like, why not just say, why are you sad? I'm like, bro, I'm supposed to get positive emotions out of the winners. What do you want me to say? Donk, you're so sad, bro. Like, he's also just going to say, no, I'm fine, you know?
Yeah.
Like, Spirit are a unique team to interview. Have some fun with him. I do my best. Thank God for Magix cheering him up by throwing some gold on his head. I love Magix, by the way. Magix is a character, a positive character, a positive force for our game in that sense.
Did you see
He's a
his like
troll as well.
funny reaction? I think it was up on like Reddit.
Yeah.
It looks so good, man. You can watch it
On
later.
what?
But...
I didn't. Yeah, you're gonna
Okay,
have to send me
I'm
this.
gonna
What was it?
find
What
this.
was
I'm
it?
gonna find this for you.
All right, I'll keep rambling about this Donk stuff because I don't think Donk deserves hate for this interview because I respect and see his mentality and what he's doing, and I don't hate on him for it. They won. They were expected to win. Everyone had them winning, even if they faced Na'Vi in the final, no matter who they found. This performance was a win, but it was still not good enough for what Spirit are aiming for. Best in the world, beating Vitality, beating Falcons, you know? And they lost to Falcons in Blast Rivals. They lost to Vitality after that and got eliminated. They keep hitting third to fourth place. This event was like theirs, but they've still got a lot to work on if they want to win the Austin Major. And Hallie, thank God I obviously have a translator. I can talk to him more. And I love Hallie. We talk in English like off camera, but he's not confident enough to give details for the interviews. But Hallie's got a good mind and he knows that they're going to have boot camp. They're going to have to work hard. There's a lot of things to be done, but he'll be able to learn a lot from this whole situation he's been through.
Yeah, and I mean,
because
to be fair to the players, it's not like everyone has the major on their mind right now. Nothing else matters,
yeah,
and that's the reality. This is just like a practice stepping stone for most teams that are still
yep,
in the major that want to or have a chance of winning it. I understand that he's not satisfied because they dropped way more maps against teams that, if we looked before the event and said, Astralis made it close in the grand final, people just laugh at
yeah.
us for saying that, like
Exactly.
and he probably has that in his mind, that
Mm-hmm.
they should be stomping these teams.
Did you find this thing? You sent it to
Yes,
me?
I
Let's have a
sent
look.
the
Magic's reaction.
yeah.
Let's look. He's the best, man. See? Content gold.
Yeah.
Content gold, a bit of a troll, but he's good fun with it as well. But like, do you agree with what I'm saying about this win?
Absolutely. I mean, I think they've set a bar where they want to be the ones beating Vitality. They want to be overstepping Falcons. They don't want to be this like, because if we're all honest, right now
Mm-hmm.
we have Vitality, we probably have Falcons, we probably have Mouse above
Yeah, Mouse. Yeah.
Spirit as well. That's not a position they want to be.
I'd
They
agree.
want to be the fourth best team in the
No.
world with the best player in the world. It does
They
not
weren't
make
even
sense.
the best team last year. It's
Yeah,
gone
but
further downhill.
it's like everyone before this year was saying this is either this is Spirit's year, this is Spirit's year, this is Spirit's year, and then Vitality
Yep.
come and make that drops change, and all of a sudden they're the top dog, But to
By
not
far.
even be second in that list, that's I would be hurting if I was on Spirit. There's
Yeah.
my expectations would be higher, and I'm sure
And
theirs
their
are.
expectations are.
So
Yes. Yeah, I fully agree.
looking at from that
Another MVP for Donk
perspective,
though.
yeah, very sad photo of an
And
MVP, but
bro, all the photos of him is so sad. Is fucking
I think
content
some of the
gold.
MVPs that actually lost the final had a happier face on them.
For real. Oh my god, it's crazy, but I love him for it. I'm not gonna give him hate for it. And for some of
No,
the fans are just,
I get
I
it.
hope with what I'm explaining, some of the fans get it like you do because we understand it. But it's like this is Donk after all, you know. He's looking at hitting a 1.7
Yeah.
rating, not a 1.5.
But it's
He's
also
looking
like
at
it's like you're saying, right? He's not saying he doesn't care about the audience. He just if you're
mhm,
not gonna care about the negative, you can't care about the positive. Doesn't work.
yep,
If you care about the positive, you care about the negative. So you have to kind of throw all of it out because that's how
yep,
emotions work. You can't pick and choose the good parts and think that you're not gonna be affected by the bad ones.
exactly. But the winners were expected. Sometimes on Chopper's calling, I get a little bit worried. I don't know if it's when he's just playing a bit bad, but there's some things I think, oh, Chopper, like, what's going on here? But a Halley timeout sometimes can do wonders. I don't actually know the metrics on like Halley timeouts to round success win. Someone will post that later on, I'm sure.
But there are
Um,
some statistics on that. I've seen
yeah,
on the Twitter.
but they are skipping Dallas, which I think is really positive for them. They chose this event over it. Obviously, this was like a home crowd for them as well, with many
Yeah.
Russian speakers in the audience and many Russian fans out there as well. But do you know what? To end on PGL Astana as overall, yes, I was a stage host for it, but like first 2 days in the arena wasn't fully packed, wasn't great. Saturday was a bit better than Friday. Today was a big win game. Everyone turned up for that grand final. It was completely full. We had Iman Bek, a Kazakhstan Grammy-winning DJ, do a set before. By the way, most people who have done sets or musical sets before an esports event are trash. Like, I think nearly everyone I know says it's never good. It's just awkward. It's horrible. This guy put on like actual pumping tunes, up to date music. Like this is music I would go clubbing and raving and dancing to. And then I got to meet him and I told him like, are you a fan of Counter-Strike and stuff? And we were asking, he like was actually he loves Counter-Strike. He's just a Kazakhstani guy that likes Counter-Strike who happens to be an amazing DJ. That was a win. Crowd on Sunday, like I was worried that Kazakhstan wouldn't show itself as like that great, despite having so many amazing people wanting to play and love the game. Like they have a huge community, but the crowd was a win crowd in the end.
It was
PGL going to somewhere
definitely.
we've never been.
I mean,
Yeah,
how
yeah.
often are you gonna have like a home crowd for a team, and then all of a sudden, they go, "Let's go Astralis," and then "Let's go Spirit," and
Hooksy,
they're
Hooksy.
just like loving everyone.
They're loving
They
Counter Strike.
yeah, exactly, and
Oh,
that's the perfect
and dude,
crowd.
I did. Do you know what? So I was scheduled to just do 2 signing sessions, yeah, with 1xBet, by like a personal sponsor for me.
Yeah,
I did 3 signing sessions. Every time I left the arena to the bus, this isn't like saying, oh, I'm so cool and popular. I mean, they were cheering my name coming out of there and wanting pictures and autographs. There were so many young kids as well, like 10, 11, 12 years old that I was meeting. And the love was so crazy nice because we've never been there, you know?
yeah,
They're so excited. Some of these kids, like, think of this, they need visas to go to most countries as well, so they're not leaving the country as much. Yeah, there's that other factor to it. If we're looking at it from a whole win crowd, win event, we should definitely go back to Astana again. And I thoroughly enjoyed
maybe
it, man.
next year your wife can be the translator on stage with you.
Oi, that's actually a shout. Imagine husband. I need to talk to. Oi, you actually cooked. I need to go to Sylvie. I need to go
If
to
she's
him at
rating
PGL and
the
say,
translation, I felt bad. Maybe she's better
bro,
then.
but you just cooked. I might have to go to PGL and say, yo, imagine husband and wife on stage. My wife is fire. The fans will like what she looks like. It'd be good eye candy for all the young boys watching Counter Strike. Sounds like I'm pimping up my wife. Actually, this might sound like a terrible idea. I will cover her up. But I mean, yeah. This is got a slippery slope. But I mean, we could cook with this. You actually
Yeah.
come up with a good idea, mate. All right, by the way, we've done a huge 1 hour 40 part of this podcast just on Astana because of how crazy
Yeah,
it
but we
was.
kind of need to
So
speed through it
we'll
if you're gonna be able to leave the country to in
yeah,
what is it,
I'm
3-4
flying in a
hours?
few hours. Yeah, I'm flying in a few hours. By the way, that's how dedicated we are to this podcast, guys. We're leaving in a few hours. I literally finished, came straight from work into doing the podcast and getting this ready. Yeah, so there was a what's this here? We've got the refund bug. I think this is something we should talk about, by the way.
Okay.
Because Odic buys a scout to pick mid, gets tags, then drops to the teammates who bought him to refund them.
So this used to be even a
Isn't that
thing back in the
wild?
day. You know that before you could be
Mm-hmm.
like a CT on Dust 2, right? You're peeking without
Yeah.
armor mid doors, and you would get a
Yep.
kill like suicide. You could run back and buy an MP9 and drop to your teammate. And
Oh,
they removed this.
really?
Yeah, this was in CS:GO, right? So you could have an MP9 on pistol round, which is essentially, they blocked that, but this is another type of thing, right? Because I think
Yeah.
if they fired it, maybe they can't refund it. I'm not sure how it is. So they kind of
Yeah.
got a little bit of a walkthrough, but obviously this is an abuse that should not be part of the game.
Yeah, it's terrible.
I do
It's
understand
terrible.
PGL's kind of like approach from it from the start because they come from Dota, they're fans of Counter-Strike,
Mm-hmm.
and I think they just follow a rule book, they're learning, and that's why they okayed it. Because
Mm-hmm.
bugs are part of the game, and sometimes even why some esport titles in the past have been exciting.
Yeah.
Like we can look at 1.6, like there's so many bugs that were used.
They
Some were
bugs
okay,
that but
some
no
were
longer called
not
bugs.
okay. Like you had
Yep.
like bug flashes where the whole server would just turn full white if you like
Did you used to be able
landed
to
them.
throw a grenade outside B tunnels and enable to explode damage into B tunnels
Yeah.
in that little crack between the
So
boxes?
there's so many bugs and things that have been okay, And I
Yeah.
also think that you shouldn't punish a team before a rule is set into place either. So if there is no
Mm-hmm.
rule for it, they shouldn't be punished for doing it. But you should definitely set the precedent after and say, okay, this wasn't okay. Let's not pick
Yep.
on these guys for using it. They tried to be innovative. It turned out the wrong way, and they shouldn't get hate for it in that sense. But it should not in
Yep.
further games and tournaments shouldn't be allowed.
For real. For real. And then he said like PGL confirmed it's allowed, and then what? The very next day, Valve just patched it so that can't be done.
Yeah, which was a good move.
So yeah, that by the way, that's a win move from Valve to have that patch straight away.
Yeah,
So it's just a funny thing to go through. I'm glad it got fixed. Obviously, it was a kind of non-issue overall, but it was funny that it was spotted out. And I love that Woody's comment was, Imperial used that against us in the major qualifier in the Dust 2 match. This is not a bug and is allowed. And I'm like, he goes, we confirmed it before using it. And then Zach replied, prove it or I will cut, like the KNG meme, like kill
yeah,
you. I love that they were having fucking banter about it. But yeah, it got patched. It's a fun moment. It was
it
something on there.
happened.
Yeah, it happened. It's no longer can happen. We move on from this. For the rest of this, right? Because we got some ESIC things to go through. I think we can skip that and leave that for another episode because that's not so like hard hitting to do now.
Yeah,
I think the next one we should talk about is we've been saying the Star Ladder Major has been coming to Budapest for so long now. Well, guess what? The real announcements finally happened. And it's amazing because we get another company back that's not owned by some big conglomerate. They are now owned by someone else. They were bought out. But I mean, Star Ladder is still the Ukrainian company with a lot of history in Counter-Strike. It's going to be great to have them back. It's good that we're not just stuck with PGL, Blast, ESL, rinse and repeat. It's good we have some other competition coming in there, some more events. It looks like we're really going back to the glory days. And I'll let you on to know a little secret. I was supposed to go for like an announcement PR thing, but it clashed with these dates here. So like I was going to go and do something for Star Ladder. Sadly, that didn't happen. But I'm telling you, from what I understand from Star Ladder, they are cooking with this. Like this this is a big splash for them to come back into Counter-Strike, and
Yeah,
it is going to be epic.
and they are
And the
more
fact that
than
all
welcome.
stages have crowd. Oh yeah, exactly. Everyone's going to welcome them back with open arms.
It's
Oh, it's
nostalgia. I
so
mean,
good.
it truly is. I've missed them for a long while. I think it's great they're back.
Mhm.
Um, Budapest also a great city. I think to host in.
Yeah.
Cheap, lovely,
Finally.
nice. I think a lot of people are gonna be able to make their way there and have a great time.
Yeah.
So I think location really nice. Yeah, I'm just excited. That's gonna be, when is it? November 24th of November.
Yep. To the 14th of December. Good timing as well, similar to what we had for the
Yeah, the ending of
Shanghai
the year
major.
major is it's just the way it
Yeah.
should be.
And all stages have fans and audience with tickets being in there, smaller arena into a big one. It's going to be a 360 stage by the looks of it, from what I'm understanding, which obviously PGL pulled off amazingly just now in Astana. I think 360
It looks
stages
so good,
are the way
man.
that
Yeah,
all
it
TOs
looks
should
so
go.
so damn good.
It's so much better for my job. It's so much better for the players. It's a better viewing experience. Like, this should just become the norm for all tournament organizers. And for me, obviously, Starlight has a sweet spot in my heart because they're the ones that moved me to Kiev to work back in 2019. And obviously, Ukraine's been my home ever since afterwards. So shout out to them. Otherwise, I probably would have never gone there. Wouldn't have met my wife. Wouldn't have had all this amazing enjoyment of Ukraine and going around everything. So lucky me. It
Yeah,
all happened in one go. Shout out Starladder one time.
it's a big one.
Oh, we got our favorite things now, but it's only one real roster moves news that we love to do because we're always doing some of this.
Yeah.
Let me have a look. Where did I have this bit here? I've clicked off the right. By the way, I'm operating on one screen right now, just for you to know. One screen, hardly a setup. It's a bit of a laptop, and I'm just clicking through things to try and find us. Here we go. It's our roster news moment.
Yep.
So roster news, it's kind of like Munacy gave us a bit of information on this. It was Sheep Esports. I'll be honest, guys, never heard of you guys, but I did hear of Nell reporting that Team Spirits and Falcons have reached the agreement on the transfer. So Falcons is what they're saying. We all heard it could be Tessa's being replaced, but it actually, I guess because of Magic's underperformance, will look like Kicksan,
Tessus has
Tessa's,
been
Nico,
massive as well.
Munacy. Yeah, he's dude. We all agreed he shouldn't go. And Kyosuke will be coming in to Falcons to play with Munacy and Nico. And I'm guessing that's probably the biggest pull, that Kyosuke was the one who was like, yeah, this I want to go to this. And the funny thing is, Munacy in his telegram was like, sources, trust me, bro, Sheep Esports. Who are they anyway? I'm guessing he's trying to just play that off. Yeah,
Yeah.
because he's not denying it.
He's not
He's
denying
not saying
it.
no. And also, remember when we grilled him on the podcast and he was like, yeah, he's a nice player, very talented, very skilled.
No, but I think it's exciting. Let's hope it's obviously not fully confirmed. There's other, maybe rumors that kind of, at least people seems to be hooked on this to think that it's legit.
How much do you think they would have paid for him? This is the interesting question. Munacy was the 600K buyout back in what, 2020?
I assume it's something
2021. I'm gonna say this. I'm guessing
maybe
because
800.
Spirit sold him to Falcons. I'm gonna guess 1.2 mil.
Wow, that's insane.
That would be insane. I really hope we get the truth on like how much his buyout is or what this looks like. By the way, for people to know, Spirit is an organization. If you don't follow Dota, they won TI twice. They won tons of events. They've got they've got backing and money. Who's there? They've got a betting sponsor, BetBoom. BetBoom. Some of the people who own BetBoom are like investors in the Spirit company or something like that. So there's like a crossover there. Spirit are doing well across the board.
Yeah.
In the games they choose and as the organization overall.
Structure is, academy.
They don't
everything.
need, and they don't need this money, but you're not going to sell like a potential second donk for cheap, especially as he's not going to you and you're going to kind of instantly fight against him. But it does make me excited for like Kyosuke's going to be able to learn from Munacy, Nico, and then Zonic's your coach.
So
Oh,
so so when is
that's
financial
crazy.
fair play coming into esports?
Yeah, wait, it might actually need to happen. There might need to be trans. The thing is, they'll never. All these organizations will never agree on this shit.
Falcons transfer ban for the next 3 windows.
Yeah, actually, guys, you spent so much money that you need to just chill for 5 years, no matter what
Yeah.
you got.
No, but
You need to
obviously
sell.
exciting pickup.
Yeah,
This is, it could make or break them into, kind of cementing their place and kind of knocking Vitality from their throne. I think they've been close. They still have more
yep.
potential with the lineup they have going into the major. Um, so it's super exciting because it's gonna be, yeah, a really exciting project. What can you say? You have Monos, you have Nico, you have
No.
Tessus, Kixon, one of the most up and coming in-game leaders, and then you have Kyosuke. So I wonder how it's gonna
Kyosuke.
be, like role wise, with anchor spots, etc. Who's gonna be kind of stepping into that role? That's the only question mark.
Yeah.
Because if I,
Do you do you trust him to go like straight into God roles and let him do what he does best, or do you ask him because he's younger to learn a bit more? Does Nico take a back seat in some ways? Like there is so many questions on
I
this.
think it would be a mistake to take some of his talents and put him into these stale roles. I think that would be a massive mistake. I think that's a way you can destroy players that are young coming up and getting their chance. They need to be playing roles and positions they already are comfortable with. They know they can perform in, because
Mm-hmm.
if you're a more experienced, seasoned player, you can kind of take a little bit of a beating, taking a little bit of a
Yep.
backseat, and knowing there is, you have this potential in you. It's not going to affect you in the same way. So having someone that young, I don't think you can force him into, like mold him into the player you want that fits for you. I think you
Yeah.
need to kind of release him and kind of tone him in the way where he's comfortable.
Definitely. I'd agree with you on that. I'm excited for it though. It seems almost pretty much. I would say right now this is a 99% happening thing.
All right.
From all the information I have and the people I've spoken to, this may as well be 100%. And the only sad thing that does for me is that whoever understands they're being kicked now, whether it's Tesses, whether it's Magisk, rumored to be Magisk, obviously, this could affect like how they perform at the major and going forward. But hopefully, whoever they have just does the best possible, keeps it respectable. You know?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, I think they're not gonna be too sour. I
Yeah.
think they're gonna try to end it with a bang. Make sure they know, okay, if we pull out a great performance, maybe they make the replacement, but then they could look back and,
Mm-hmm.
but see this result when you had me, kind of thing, rather than
Yeah.
going through it the petty
Yeah.
way of not trying.
I want to see a Dexter response. Like that kind of thing.
Yeah,
Magic has an MVP level performance, lifts the trophy in Dallas. They beat Vitality.
yeah. I don't think
Jobs are good. And
they're professionals.
yeah. All right, next we got to come back to this because we touched on Jacob, when he was going through, and it's obviously a very serious topic on his the problems he has, with the gambling side.
Yeah,
So some information I saw is that I'm just trying to make sure I get it up. This was actually published in a Norwegian newspaper that he's going to be going to trial in Norway on the 26th of June. And the problem is, he, on top of obviously having the gambling problem, what they're allegedly saying, and I'm going to say this very carefully because this is now like real laws, is that he's now charged with embezzling millions from his own bankruptcy estate. When I say millions, that's obviously in like Norwegian kroner.
yeah,
And just to take an extract from this article, it says even though his sole proprietorship was undergoing bankruptcy proceedings, a man in his 30s is said to have provided himself with just over 1.8 million kroner that was transferred to the company's checking account without notifying the trustee. You know how businesses work. So then he's getting charged with Section 409 of the Norwegian Penal Code for having acted as a debtor in bankruptcy in a manner that was likely to prevent an asset from serving as cover or exploitation from the creditors. That's like, this is now serious. Not on top of you owed other people money, but you defrauded basically your own government and country. It says during a 5-month period in 2023, as the owner of the company that was in bankruptcy, is alleged to have failed to inform the estate administrator that he received 5 payments totaling 1.9 million in currency of their money, right, of the Norwegian kroner. And during the same period, he used 1.87 million kroner of the amount for purposes that did not benefit the creditors who had filed claims in the estate. Writes police attorney, someone name in the blah, blah, blah police district. So a trial is scheduled for June. And like, this is now, this isn't just you owing money. This is like, you are, you don't get this, you must be serving jail time.
Yeah, I think Scandinavian tax laws and stuff like that are pretty harsh.
Yeah,
So
you know that.
yeah, it does not sound good. He's basically fucked, I'd say.
I thought there was gonna be a more positive ending to that. Nope, he's basically fucked. Yeah, I can't disagree with you. And this is like the sad part of our industry, right? We don't hear about it all too often, but we've seen it with Joel, we've seen it with Jakem, these issues that players can have. And this is why I just again say to everyone, you have to be so careful, you know?
Yeah.
And if you have friends like this, if you have people that you see that have this kind of a problem, look out for them, talk to them. Yeah. I know men especially don't like to talk so much about these things, but if you notice anyone having this problem, it's okay to talk and prod and support your people.
Yeah.
Come together and band together to help each other.
Oh, it's
But
really
I'll see
it's
if,
really sad.
yeah, that's it. That's the only way to look at it. It's really sad. And I just hope that like they can clear it up as easy as possible, but it does sound like he'll definitely serve some jail time, and that's going to be kind of GG on all of that for him. Some nicer. Let's flip into positive mode before we get into Dallas, mate.
Yep.
So Besita is an Argentinian team that qualified for the Blast Major. If people didn't know, they are asking for the community support, and they've honestly had so much support. I retweeted it. That's not that important, by the way, not me, but I mean I did. Lots of other people, Apex, other teams, they all came together because obviously they have some players who need to get the visas. And it says here, we've been trying to sort out the visa situation for 3 years, but we keep getting turned down, he said. We've used every resource at our disposal. We've spoken with every person we thought could give us important information with agencies. We are practicing in Brazil. We went to the embassy for the boys to give it another try, and they were once again turned down. We are now a few hours away of having to confirm that we have completed the process to be able to represent Argentina. Both Tommy and Luco have had their visas denied in theory because they have no reason to return to Argentina after the major. And it's so sad. Like, this is a big team. This is a big organization within the region. They qualified for such an important event of their careers. This is what I absolutely, I'm not saying don't run events in America, but this is where I would love if Valve or someone who is like an American company can step up and try help these guys, because I want to see them compete, man.
No, for sure.
And
It's
it's
one of the
heartbreaking. Like, even
biggest
Gabriel's
moments of their life, you know.
even Fallen's tweeted on the thing as well. By the way, reading this now, so when we're filming, 2 million views, 4.5k retweets, 15k likes on the post, 1,000 comments. Please, man, I'm hoping with the amount of community support that they can get the love they need. You know,
Yeah. Hopefully,
I really
a
want to see them
government
there.
official, fan of Counter-Strike, jumps in, helps out.
Yeah, that's the dream, right? You get the Mongols a treatment.
Exactly. No, obviously,
Have the
huge
support.
moment. They fought their, hearts out life for, and
Yep.
it would be extremely tragic if it ended in this way for them. Obviously, big, a major is such a dream. I don't even know how to explain the
Yeah.
disappointment that would, come from, because it's so anticlimactic. They've had the joy of, yes, we've done it, and then
Mhm.
smacked down. It's way worse
Kicked at
than
the
not
last hurdle.
qualifying. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah. Yeah, it actually is. You've made it, but you can't
Yeah,
go.
no,
You're
no,
like, great.
no.
Great. That's the worst feeling, man. I couldn't think of anything worse.
Yeah. So,
Um, but let's get on to Dallas now to close out the show
yep.
and get towards the end of it all, mate. So this is our Intel Extreme Masters Dallas preview. I'm going to start by just saying one thing here. Obviously, the talent announcement has come out, and I mentioned it earlier in the stream. A lot of people asked me why I was not at Melbourne, and now obviously I'm not going to be at Dallas as well. So Richard Lewis got an article out on this as well. Might have released it already, but I'm not even focusing on me for this one because if you look at recent ESL events, there's a lot less talent. So before it's like always one host, two people on the desk. Now it's like even Pimp is being like a host of some way. So it's like a guy, it's basically two people doing like a desk, bringing more players in to do stuff. Freya's going to be in my interview role, in the sideline role that I would normally do. Freya, obviously, incredible at the job. Definitely never ever going to be a problem with that. But like they're condensing the roles down. So there's less commentators, there's less talent overall. And the sad part of this is, and this probably will be seen later on, is the fact that actually I know some people who are friends of mine who work full time at ESL. They've lost their jobs as well. And that's because obviously they're owned by the Savvy Gaming Group or whatever it's called. And they've now taken ESL and said, you need to become more profitable. Budgets are getting cut. And there are some very good people in production, in other departments that are being let go and don't have a job anymore. So I'm in a good position, right? I get to work for Blast for most events. I do a lot of the PGL ones. I stream and stuff. I have zero things to complain about, but there's a lot of things where we keep talking about this esports winter. Well, it's a real thing, you know? Like esports still isn't that profitable for everyone. Things are always changing in the space. And that is like, I'm just genuinely sad. And the one thing I hope doesn't happen, because the ESL events are great. I got to work so many of them. I don't want to see that because some people maybe got let go of in production or another role, there's some other things lower in quality and it has a hit or a negative effect on their events because they have great arena experiences. They have different and fun content. The skits, for example, we don't want to lose that. But I feel like things like that will be the first things to go when budgets are being cut.
I'm pretty sure the
And already
skits
with
are
talent
gonna
being cut,
go, because I know
yeah.
the production team that does them. They're insanely
Mhm.
good, like insanely
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
So I feel like that's gonna be one of the cuts, and that's sad. I think we have a lot of. I
Yeah.
mean, eh, they are funny as hell, and they bring a lot of attention to the event, even through these
Yep.
little skits. So no, I think that's really sad. Obviously, as well, like from a talent perspective, sometimes these
Mhm.
jobs can be extremely exhausting being on the road. You usually work
Yep.
entire days, there's no break. It's essentially, you go and have a beer and fall asleep straight after a long day's work. So it is, 9 to 1 at night kind of job sometimes. It's going to be even a heavier burden
Mhm.
now on a lot of these talents who has to do longer days, get less
Yeah,
rest.
that's just another thing. And
So
also, by the way, for people
quality,
to know, like,
eventually, unfortunately, the math tell you it's going to drop.
get it, yeah, it gets a hit, right?
Yeah.
And it's kind of crazy because like there are things where some talent have contracts with them, right? And some talents have like the opportunities to say yes or no to events, but it's like everyone is going to get squeezed at some point with this. And I'm not going to say it's going to be less entertaining, but I'm definitely on the point for you where like they'll be more tired, more worked, and then it will become a lesser quality for everyone, and production will be hit by it.
Yep.
And I just hope that they like ESL's always been good at battling through these things because they have the longevity. It's the longest running organizer of doing the best events. But I hope when it comes to Cologne, for example, they're not affected by that as well because obviously that's the pillar cornerstone event.
I mean,
But we'll
the
have to wait and see
one
because both Dallas. and Melbourne's now been hit by this.
The one thing that is positive is Counter-Strike is still growing, and it's
Yep.
still peaking. It's still, making its marks in that sense, which would in return give more potential revenue for the events as well. So hopefully it will stable itself out with the game actually growing, and hopefully it doesn't
Hmm.
discourage people that there might be a drop in quality in events, etc.
Yeah. But I'm still looking forward to watching it because the storylines are going to be
Yeah, yeah,
nuts here. Like the other thing is the positives, I guess. Even though I know both me and you are not a fan of it, is these backdoor contracts organizations have with going to ESL and doing these things.
yep,
But it's like they do have the best teams: Vitality, Mal's, Falcons, Aurora. It's only Spirit and Navi skipping from like the top lot, you know. But this is a stacked team of a stacked list of teams in here. The crazy thing is, we're back to that, the thing we both hate. The club share that the organization gets a lot more money than the fucking team does for winning the event. So you remember when we spoke to Monacy during the Everlone Cup?
yep.
He won more money in a 2v2 cup than he did going to Dallas, but he's going to make even less now if he wins.
Yeah, and
It's just
that's
like,
a sad part, but
oh my God.
hopefully, I don't know even what to say. It is what it is. I'm kind of
It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. Oh,
kind of
because
is
like
what
it
it is.
benefits the orgs, but ESL's bleeding money, and the players now not get like yeah. There's a whole mess with this.
Yeah, it
But
is.
Vitality already have the Intel Grand Slam. Do they just keep up a god run? Yeah,
I think
and
so. I think they're on
hit
the
hit
era
the win here.
conversation.
Yeah, yeah. We said that.
So I definitely think that they're gonna be, you know, nailing it. I think there's no signs that are saying they are slowing down in any sense. There might be other
No.
people that are rising a little bit faster, chasing them down a little bit. But it's going to
Yeah.
be really exciting to see. They've now had a couple of weeks to kind of, or rework a little bit, practice, get their shape up again. So we'll see
Mm-hmm.
if they just shut everyone down. But there
Yeah.
are a few interesting things in this event. I know you probably eyeing on one specific team, if I know you, with your good mate.
Oh. With my yeah. The phase,
The
yeah. The new
face.
recruit. A bit of simple magic in there.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say I have been face it watching, not in the watching the games, but just how many he was playing. Um, I'm not sure I'm happy with the amount. It wasn't what I was dreaming of, like prime simple
Dreaming of.
grinding 5 facets after playoffs. I was dreaming of like him coming back to his absolute form. But I will say he seems very positive about this all. The Telegram posts have been nice.
Yeah.
He even tried to troll us all that his visa got denied, but he was just lying. He was just memeing for everyone. Um, yeah, I think the biggest storyline of Dallas is Simple's back.
Yeah.
The GOAT returns, but now he needs to show if he is still the GOAT or can he still be the GOAT? Can he do anything under Carrigan's leadership? Because we've got so many questions to be answered. They said practice has been going well, the vibe is good, but can he put up the numbers? Is he really adjusted into CS2? These are all the questions we're going to get answered here.
Yeah.
And we won't know. The good thing is, right, let's just look at this before we get into phase too much. Aurora, we're getting on a 2 a.m. flight now, so that they would have been in the air now for about an hour because it's 3:15 in the morning here in Kazakhstan. They're starting their journey. I'm pretty sure maybe Fury and Mongols are on similar flights. Maybe Mongols went before. G2, depending on when they went, different times. Game Legion as well. They went to America earlier because obviously they got 0-3'd. I think they went straight from Astana to America, but A-Core was obviously coming in as a sub, which is not great for them because Slender's good. I don't think I think this is going to impact them even more, which is crazy. But just there's so many things here where, like, first of all, if teams don't make it to media day, which is obviously soon, they get fines from ESL, for messing up the schedule. And then on top of that, they are going to be jet lagged. Like, there's no way you go from Kazakhstan to America without getting hit with some jet lag. And this is going to throw some spanners in the works for teams. This is going to make things very confusing.
It does seem like the playoff teams, at least from Astana, is playing on the Tuesday instead of now on Monday. instantly, so they have a little bit more time to adjust at least. So that's honestly a little bit nice
Wait,
from.
let's go back to your fucking science on jet lag. This doesn't work out still. What is
Well,
it?
to be fair, it's always worst traveling east on the map
Mm-hmm.
than west. So if you would be an American coming to Europe, it's way worse than a European going to America. So they
Okay,
do
you're
have
giving
that small
Americans help.
thing. Um, so hopefully they can recover a little bit better just because it's traveling to the west. I don't know why it's like that, but I swear it's like that. I could, bet
Science.
my family on this fact. It feels way better.
Uh,
You're not getting ass wrecked. So hopefully that's but it's 1 hour or 1 day per hour to adjust.
it's gonna it's gonna have some impact, I'm sure. There's definitely gonna be some impact in here. Going down this team list though, right? Vitality, obviously we know what they do. Mal's still in a good spot, looking to probably bounce back after the Melbourne incident. Falcons,
Yeah.
everyone's still hella positive about them. Obviously, rumors could affect them. Aurora, we'll see what happens. Mongols, kind of air as well. G2, now we finally get to see Hunter come back. God, I hope he's ready to perform.
Still have a stand-in though.
FaZe, they still have Hades standing in until they work out what they're going to do. FaZe with simple Ukrainian flag on the FaZe shirt. I actually need that shirt. I have to get that shirt. Liquid back in action again. Shuhei still there. Game Legion without the full roster. Acor standing in. 3D Max getting a chance to do it. They came through the European closed qualifier. Heroic. This is very interesting because obviously we heard about the rumors. We spoke about it in episode 10 about some Pius and Saw going over to G2 potentially. Furia,
Yeah.
this is a chance to prove themselves once again. Legacy, Dumao, Lato, I'm big fans of them, what they can do. Still, this is going to be a hard event for them. Lin Vision, the Chinese team, not arguably the best Chinese team right now, but they did come through the Asia Closed qualifier. A good bit of experience for them, test of what they can do. NRG, North American Closed qualifier. The only interesting part here for me is Bro, because he was able to do some numbers for them while playing.
But to be fair, when they were playing like that Philadelphia against NIP,
Yeah,
they were playing in the semis against NIP, and they could have as easily won that game. It was a very
yeah.
close overtime, and eventually NIP clinched it and eventually won the final really cleanly. So NRG could
Hmm.
have been the winner at that event. So there is still something. Got Nitro there, which is I guess his kind of like
Captain
comeback into
America.
the Captain America is back.
If they make it to the
So
arena, that's lit. Not
it
gonna
would be,
happen, by
but
the way.
probably not. It's a pretty stacked kind of set of teams. Obviously, we mentioned Spirit isn't there, but
Yeah, no
the
Navi.
rest is.
But there's BC
Yeah,
Game, by the
Navi as well.
way, who I was so hyped about because Perfecto, my Navi boy, was coming to stand in for them. And then his visa is approved, but he didn't get it in time. So he's not coming. And they've got Sassanito. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with Sassanito, but I just wanted Perfecto, man. It's just killed my little bit of hype around them.
It's
But
the
they didn't
Navi
qualify for the
fanboy in you.
European close. Yeah, exactly. That's the only reason. I was like,
Yeah.
Simple and Perfecto at the same event on opposite teams. Welcome back to my heaven of seeing what else could crazily happen within Counter-Strike.
But it's overall pretty interesting event.
Yeah. Okay, wait a sec. You said pretty interesting event. I can't take that seriously because the whole thing I'm going to think about is simple phase interesting. Vitality form going to be interesting.
Yeah.
But the major is everyone's focus, and realistically, none of these teams and players care that much about this right now unless they're not in the major. If you're not in the major, this is your major. If you are in the major, like you're only taking this as a bit of extra official practice, realistically.
Yes. I mean, how many weeks is it until the major now?
Well, it depends what stage you're in, right? So if it's like
Well, the
Vitality and
first
other
stage
teams,
then.
it's a few
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
Stage one is, let me get my calendar out, 2 seconds. I'm an old man, so I use the calendar on my phone. So it is the 19th of May right now. The major will start on the 2nd of June.
Okay, so
So it's two
it's
weeks
2 weeks, exactly 2 weeks
mhm,
until the major starts.
if you're in stage one,
This
yeah.
could be an event, not to kind of kill the hype, but this could definitely be an event meme worthy of the saving strats for the major kind of thing.
Do they do that though? Is that a real thing, Devilhawk?
That is a real thing.
Okay.
100% a real thing. It is not a real thing for a long period of time. But if it's one event, I would honestly, if I was coaching one of these teams, we're doing
Mm-hmm.
well with some of the strats that we feel are okay, we win this 80, 90% of the time, we would be
Yeah.
saving that shit. We would be
Okay.
playing structurally the same, but some of
Yep.
these few gimmicky plays and rounds, which we would use as kind of like, okay, we're in trouble, we have to throw it in there.
Yep.
It's new, they shouldn't be aware of it. We win it a lot in practice. Definitely be saving that stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well, it is a real thing. Then sometimes we joke about it's like, oh, they're not actually, you wouldn't do this. You just want to win everything. But this could be one of those points for it. So my expectations for this event is that the crowd will be win because I've hosted the Dallas stage. Out of the 3 times I've been there, 2 times. Obviously not going to be there this time, but it's a win crowd. It's in an expo hall where there's a lot of cool anime places that I got to shop in as well after I finished work. That was amazing because obviously our games would finish early to be on earlier for like European viewership. So I love
Isn't
Dallas,
this
man. Dallas
the
is awesome.
IEM Dallas fuck you Apex crowd?
Yes, it is. It is exactly that. But this time they'll be saying "Love you, Apex" because there's no Stewie, and like even if they do hate Apex, he's gonna lap it up. He's gonna enjoy every moment of this.
Yeah. I think he's probably the least affected person that
And
could
they've got
get
the
that
Grand
kind of
Slam now,
chance.
so he doesn't even get to take his gold bars in Dallas. He's already got it in
Oh, that
Melbourne,
was the
so that kind
moment
of
you
ruined
kind of
my.
wanted.
I wanted "fuck you, Apex" crowd to be like trying to say that again while he sits there with a shit-eating grin on his face, gold bar in mouth, medal in hand, going, "Fuck you, Dallas! Fuck you, Americans!" But he kind of did it at Blast Rivals. He also said some shit about Americans as a joke. I love Dan. Dan's humor, Dan's way of being right now is top tier. Like in terms of aura, his aura is at the highest. He is on a next level thing.
It's him
Um,
and Donk.
Completely different styles of aura, but yes,
Yes.
yeah, completely different styles. Um, So let's do our thing as always. Predictions for the opening games and all of them of what we think is going to happen here.
Are you
So
going through the matches again, the matches page? As we
yes, the
go
matches
through them.
page.
Okay. Just
So
to make sure.
we've first one I've got here: 3D Max taking on Gamer Legion. Now 3D Max we've not seen in action since I've got to check exactly before I say this, but I think it was Bucharest last time. They take some breaks, man. They take some time off old 3D Max. Am I right
It
or
was
am I
4
terribly
weeks ago
wrong?
against Face.
Oh, they're in Melbourne. Okay, do you know because their Melbourne exit was so crazy, didn't even think about it. Didn't even actually pay any attention to them being in Melbourne. So yeah, for 3D Max right now, it was rough. But Game Legion also playing with a stand-in, and it's even rougher for them. So this is kind of an up and down matchup. My heart says that Game Legion will somehow pull this off because Acor's got nothing to lose. But
There's also
realistically, it should
Acre.
be.
He's played for a long while with Ash. He knows the system.
Yeah,
Ash knows him. He knows what he's capable of. I
it makes
think
sense.
in that sense, I don't think it's as big of a jump as maybe some other stand-ins would be.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I still, it might not even be a downgrade to be completely fair.
Ooh,
Depends on what form Acre is in.
yeah.
But I remember Acre in that Gamer Legion, he was beasting.
So you think you've been unleashed again?
Maybe.
All
I
right.
do think maybe his opening style is not as good in CS2 compared to CSGO, but
Yeah, he's affected by movement as well. He used to have god movement, and
yeah.
CS2 kind of nerfs that. All
But
right.
it's gonna be an
Tell me
interesting one.
though.
I agree with you, but
Mm-hmm.
I'll actually say 3D Max this one.
All right. Well, I am going to go with Game Legion with this one. So you got 3D Max. I've got Game Legion. We're going on opposite sides for the first game. That's very unusual for us. Next one,
This
Liquid
one this
taking
one could
on
also be interesting.
FaZe. Yeah, because FaZe have had more time with Shuhei. This is going to be them trying to build upon what they're doing here for Shuhei standing in for a few events up until the major and then seeing what happens. Maybe he stays or doesn't. Then you've got Simple on his debut, FaZe trying to pull themselves out of this dark place. But the problem again is like I can't naturally pick FaZe yet because I still don't know if Rain's there or not. I don't know if it's Skulls or if it's. Wait a second. Let me look. I'm gonna look down this because they released pictures of the team.
In the match
So
page, it's Skulls.
yeah, and also in the picture of them in their new outfits, it's Skulls. So I want Simple to do well, and I want to predict him to win by heart, and it would be great. But I feel like actually, do you know what? Something I didn't think about. Skulls was on Liquid before as well. Yeah. Maybe he's gonna be
Yeah.
really fired up to be like, I slapped my ex. That sounds terrible. I fucked my ex. That's the one. He's gonna slap him in the server. Yeah, you know? Doesn't want to get fucked by his ex and lose. He's gonna fuck his ex and destroy them in the game.
Okay. I'm with you. It's a bit
Bro, it's
weird,
been a
but
long
sure.
day. It's 3:30 in the morning. I have been awake now for 20 something hours and hosted all day. Give me a break.
I don't
I'm
know
absolutely wrecked.
why, but I want to say FaZe.
Yeah.
And I have nothing to stand on while
So
saying
if
that.
anyone's listening to our predictions, there is no logic in me and Devil wanting and thinking FaZe will win this because everything should point to Liquid winning, but we're still saying FaZe. Are we
I
just
don't know if
massive
it's a want,
fanboys?
a need to say FaZe. I don't know what it is, but something
Carrigan and
is.
Simple.
You know, when you get the gut
Carrigan and
feeling, and it's
Simple.
like, yeah, this is
So
what I
who are you
want.
picking? Who are you
I'm
picking?
picking FaZe.
Okay. I'm picking FaZe as well. So we went
But
split
based
on
on
the
absolutely nothing.
yeah, like this is not us trying to be God mode predictions. This is just it's Carrigan. It's
This is like
simple.
flipping a coin.
But it's also Skulls and a leash. There is
Simple,
Frozen there.
mostly.
No, I'm simple in Carrigan. This is I just believe there's gonna be some magic. There has to be some magic that happens. All right, next game's Vitality taking on Legacy.
Let's do this quick.
Vitality.
Vitality.
It's just sorry, Legacy. I don't even think you're gonna get 10 rounds across the whole series. You're gonna get 2-0'd. And it's not gonna be pretty for you. It's not gonna be comfortable. You're not gonna enjoy it.
I think we have
That is
some fast
not a
ones
fun
coming
game.
up as
Yeah,
well here.
Mouse versus BC game. I'll say that I think BC game without a standing, like, can take more rounds than expected. But this is with a standing, and it's also not perfecto. So it's Mouse all the way for me, probably a 2-0.
Yeah, Mouse all the way. Same here. I don't think we really need to argue too much for
No.
this one. I think it's the same as kind of Vitality versus Legacy.
G2 versus
Um,
Linvision.
this one can still be a little bit rocky.
Bro, no,
I
Hunter's
think
coming back and he says, I
always.
missed the whole tournament, so now I'm going to wreck.
Yeah, but I always say, like, every time Chinese teams, they're difficult, especially as a first day matchup. I think
Yeah.
something can happen, but I don't think it's enough to beat G2 with Hunter back.
Okay. I will say this. Linvision should be able to win a map here. I think they're more than capable of winning a map against G2, but I do think G2 is going to take it.
Yeah.
That's where I go with it.
Agree with it. Agree with it.
Falcons NRG next. Falcons, even if they're changing things in the future, they are going to run over NRG. It's not going to be pretty for NRG. It's a very one-sided matchup. Then we got Mongols Furia. Now, this is a wild one, man. How does Furia always get the Mongols? Like, the history between these two teams is actually nuts now. Did they play first game in Astana as well? Yeah, Swiss stage round 1 in Astana. So back to back. Now, they lost last time. Mongols should have got to Dallas before Furia did. But I'm just going to say it now. I believe in the Furia hype. Furia is going to have grown, learn, and improve, and it's now not on a stage for anyone. And Furia is going to win. 2-1, but they will win.
All right, I'll go with the Mongols to keep it spicy here. still have some belief. I love watching them. So
Yep.
I think, even though I think Furia could make a mark in this tournament as well, I think
Hmm.
Mongols is strong team, especially in group stage. They like making those playoffs, so I'll say Mongols. I think
Mongols,
it could be
nice.
tight though. It could be a 2-1 for sure.
Yeah, yeah, it will be between these guys for sure. And the last game in the opening game, so IEM Dallas, is Aurora taking on Heroic. And I'm just going to say the mental of Aurora is not the strongest anyway. That I think Heroic's going to be comfortably coming in with confidence. They won't comfortably win the game, but they will. I predict they will win. I think this is Heroic's one to do some damage to get off to a good start.
I mean, I don't think you're too far off. I'm gonna say Aurora, and I hope Aurora, but I think there's something into what you're saying with, especially Saw. We touched upon Aurora maybe being a little bit predictable. Saw is a
Hmm.
very prep heavy coach. So I think there's a lot of things pointing positively for Heroic going into this matchup. So,
Yep.
but I'll say Aurora, but hesitantly.
Okay. Well, there's our opening matchup predictions done. Now let's predict our teams going through to the playoffs. So it's only 6 teams, remember. 2 will go through to semifinals, and then the other 4 teams will be in the quarters. It's that format that I'm not really a fan of. The ESL loves to run again and again. I'd rather see 8 teams in the playoffs from the start. From Group A, Vitality will make it through in first place. I feel like G2, or actually will make playoffs here. It'll be a struggle for them. And the other team coming out will probably be Furia. Considering I think Furia will beat the Mongols. Those are my 3 coming out from Group A. For
Okay,
Group B,
I'll
okay,
say
you can go, yeah, yeah.
Vitality, Mongols, and Furia.
Oh, ooh, you're choosing Mongols over G2. Okay, I respect that.
Yeah.
I respect that. For Group B, I'm going to go with Falcons going through the group first place, Mao's second, and then third, Phase.
Ooh, spicy
Phase
one.
up. I don't know how to do phase up, Simon. I actually don't know how to do this shit with my fingers.
I have
How
no
does this
clue
work?
either. I'm uh,
Uh,
I'm not proficient in
I'm
gang
looking fucking
signs.
stupid. Gang signs, esports gang signs. How do you do this shit, man? It's like, wait, I got it. No, this,
You're
no.
close.
It's something.
Either way, while you figure that shit out, I'll say my
Wait,
predictions. I'll
wait,
say
wait.
Falcons, Mouse, and I'll say Aurora. I have to
Falcons,
hope.
Mouse, and a oh shit, no face.
Oh,
You're a horrible human being.
I don't know about
I
that,
still
but
can't do. I still can't do this thing.
I think I think they're not consistent enough yet.
I
And you
can't
are
do
not
this.
consistent enough yet with your esports gang signs.
Oh, wait. How do I do phase up?
YouTube tutorial.
oh, oh, wait a second. Okay, wait. This. It's like this. It's like this. Yeah. Does that look like an F to you right now?
Yep.
Cool. That's actually a lot less hard. Thank you, whoever this guy is. Phase Rug. You're the first one I clicked on doing this on the
YouTube
Googles.
tutorials, man.
No, I didn't look at YouTube tutorials. I just found a
Okay.
Google image and now I'm rocking it. Look at that. Esports gang signs are real. Oh, God. Okay, so we got our playoffs teams. Who's
Yep.
winning the event in your eyes?
I think Vitality is gonna win it.
Oh,
And I think
who they beat in the
personally,
final?
I think probably Falcons in the final.
Oh, so just we're going back for the rinse and repeat, 3 in
I
a
think
row.
it is a rinse and repeat. I think
Mm-hmm.
it all depends though. If if you if you look at it, like, they obviously have to be reverse of each other in the bracket. So for
Yeah,
example, if Falcons fumble against an Aurora, get into that other side of the bracket through the lower rounds, I think they someone could be screwed out of that final
yeah.
meeting early. But if things go to plan, Falcons win Group B, Vitality win Group A, I think it's going to be a Falcons Vitality final.
Yeah, that's the thing, right? If you get hit on the same side of bracket, you meet Vitality early, then it's a problem. I'll
Yeah.
say this. I've got this feeling that if we get Vitality Falcons Grand Final, Falcons will win it based on the fact that Magis is thinking I'm getting kicked and he just plays out of his mind and some magic happens. I'm all for the Cinderella story right now. Just think of that.
And the puns. Some magic is gonna happen with Magisk playing.
Mm, exactly. That would be glorious. Falcon getting another big win just before the major as well. Everything's looking good. Monassy's MVP again in Dallas, back to back. Nico and Monassy win Dallas back to back with different teams. That's a cool story.
Yeah, I mean, I hope someone knocks Vitality off the throne, but they just look so damn good, and they have so many players that you just can turn things around. Every single player is capable of, 1v4s, 1v5s, 1v3s all over. And it's just the diversity of how they're playing, the having these
Mm-hmm.
two-star players in Saivu and Rops who are kind of on the opposite in roles and way of playing, and they understand each
Yep.
other, and everything just looks too good. So I can't
Well, it
really.
does.
The Hangover Apex arc is over, and
Yeah, he's not there.
they're gonna win. Yeah,
They've had some time. I spoke to Flames, by the way. Flames said like they had a week off as well. So they actually got
yeah,
some chill time to enjoy things, and then they got back to the grind and practice. But they're all still loving Counter-Strike. They're all loving the grind. They're all going for it. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch, obviously, just how teams are, if they're saving things like you said. It should be a fun event. It should be a good vibe as well. A smaller
yeah.
crowd than what we had in Astana, but still a very powerful one and a good arena that they have it in. So in all of that sense, it's going to be very nice. And it'll be a lot of late night watching Counter Strike again, our time zones, because Dallas time zone is not that great, but I'm sure it won't be.
Yeah.
What's the last game start for you? I think playoffs is not too bad.
The last game. I mean, the first game starts 18:30, right? Or no?
For me, Ukraine time, it'll be so last game 23:30 for me.
Wait, matches. Let's see. So the first game starts 18:30, and the
Mm-hmm.
last game is 2 at night.
No, it's not terrible.
No, but I mean, if it's a best of 3 going all the way, it's like 5 in the
Yeah,
morning
yeah,
the
you can
ending.
get them. Yeah, if it's the best of 5 grand final, which goes the distance and it starts at 10 p.m. my time, then that's very late. But I'll still have to watch it. We'll still have to go through it all,
Yeah.
especially before heading into the major and see what happens.
But a lot
So we got to
of fun
do.
storylines.
Oh, definitely. We got to do our thing as always. For anyone that's watching and listening from around the world, if you join our Discord, and you can ask your questions to me or Devwalk. We answer them at the end of every episode as long as I remember to answer them. Sometimes I do forget. I apologize for that. I can only be so good. Remember, you can go to allaboutcs.gg/Discord, head over to the Q&A channel and ask your questions to either me or Devilwalk or the guests we have. I know you guys like to ask questions to the guests we get. And this one's just for you, Devilwalk. This time I got to do nothing. This is brilliant.
Oh,
So I'll just
wow.
read it out for you. Skorga, who pretty much every episode asks a question
He's
because
the
he's a
MVP,
legend.
man.
He is the MVP of All About CS. And he says, will Devilwalk ever go back into the pro scene, player, coach, desk, etc.? He was beating up-and-comers in his hometown contest, according to the last episode. Bro, I played with him in the streamer tournament, and we almost beat Get Right Edward and Markelov's team. And honestly, Devilwalk still got it. He can outperform some of these actual pro players. He's a beast.
Well, to answer
But
the
don't go back to
question,
playing because then the podcast ends.
I am going to a Counter-Strike event this summer.
Ooh.
Playing.
Ah,
So I'm going to Glitch, like the new DreamHack, kind of,
okay.
in Jönköping. And yeah, we played an online tournament, me, Michael, some young
Yeah.
Swedish guys. We won
Who?
5
Who'd you play
tickets.
with?
So they're named Cheeto and
He likes the crisps. Don't know what the fuck that is.
That's just a last name.
Oh, okay. Where's the other player? That's just 4.
Yeah, and then we played with Emilio, actually.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
The band guy.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah. And yeah, we won the 5 tickets. We said, yeah, you know what? Let's just go to the
Did you play on
LAN, have some
anti-cheat?
fun. We played on anti-cheat, yes.
Thank
It
God.
was a tournament with anti-cheat. I think he
That is
was
always
streaming at
good.
the time as well. I'm not sure. But
Just to
either
make
way,
sure the accusations were not going to get him.
so I will be playing. It's not a comeback as a player. It's for fun. Kind of do something, meet some friends. We've organized, rented an Airbnb house and just gonna have a good
Nice.
time. Fun. Kind of go back to the roots of Counter Strike in some sense.
Yep.
Just enjoy an event. Not take it too seriously, but hopefully, we'll go
Win.
there. Maybe beat a good team. Maybe not. We'll see.
Is there actually some
Practice
good
for
teams
it.
going?
It's like NIP and all those kinds of teams, But
Oh,
we're
for
obviously,
real?
yeah, but we're obviously going into the bio qualifier, and we're not like a main team invite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So we'll have to qualify
Okay, you have
through
to
the
qualify. I'm just saying
through
this now. I
the.
need you to qualify.
It would be so much fun, but that's what we're
Please.
aiming for in terms of
Do you have to bring your
coaching.
own PC as well? You actually bring your PC, right? It's proper
No,
BYOC.
yeah, it's a proper one, but I'm not bringing my PC. We're organizing something so we maybe can borrow some PCs.
Oh, nice.
Um,
Nice.
but in terms
You're
of
cooking.
coaching, I am not looking right now to coach. I wanna kind of keep riding the wave with the podcast. Hopefully, in terms of like desk jobs and stuff like that, I would love to do it. Hopefully, maybe even be able
Higher
to
Devil.
incorporate a little bit of devil walkthrough in desk segments, stuff
Oh,
like that.
yeah.
That would
But
be
they
the
can't take the
end
name Devil
goal.
Walkthrough. That's our name for the podcast.
Yeah, that's
They must
we'll
rename.
we'll find another one for the
Wait, no. We'll
live
okay.
ones.
So, like a Blast or a PGL or a Star Ladder or someone else will hire you. Can't say ESL because obviously we just spoke about their budget cuts. They'll hire you, and what they'll do is it'll be the All About CS Devil Walkthrough live on PGL. There we go.
Something along those
Plug in
lines.
the
I'm down.
podcast.
I'm definitely, I've been watching so much Counter Strike, especially with
Mm-hmm.
with us having the podcast, and it's gotten me into a new kind of excitement for the game because
Yep.
before I think coaching is so much work. I don't think people realize how much work and how much stress and how much
Yeah.
mental fortitude you have to have. And I think I also, as a personality, are becoming like a workaholic and kind of, you know, I get really drained. And I've been doing it for so long that I need a little bit of more, a different kind of spice of Counter Strike in my life right now. So
That's
I
fair.
haven't like put it all, thrown it away like it's never going to happen. But right
Yeah.
now, I'm really enjoying what we are doing together and hopefully, be able to bring, more interesting content, thoughts, and my perspective of Counter Strike, and I would love to do desk work.
Mm-hmm.
Would love it.
Hell yeah. And a lot of your insight, right? And because of how active you are compared to obviously the analysts who work on all the events, right? They can't be as active as you are in this, and with this level of knowledge you have. Fucking hell, you are the only person with a major win under your belt as a coach and player. I'm just gonna keep using that every
Yeah,
chance I get.
I
Um,
am.
but yeah, it would add a lot to a broadcast that is missing currently. We just don't have it. So it would be epic. They can bring the ex pro players in and stuff like that, but it's a different thing of how your understanding of the game and the players and the mentality is as well. So obviously, I'll always sing your praise with that. But yeah, someone hire him. He wants to come and do some more desk work. It's been a while. He's ready for it. I think we should make sure
And
he can't shave the mustache until he gets hired for a desk event. Like I wasn't cutting my hair or beard until I
my girlfriend,
until I
by the way,
got
she
hired.
absolutely hates it. So if you're at the end of the stream here, she always reads the comments, but not the. She doesn't follow the full episode. So just drop like amazing mustache, love it, all
Yeah.
this, just so
Okay.
I could
If you are a
make
fan of the
run a little
podcast in
joke
any
there.
way, any of you love this podcast, just even if you've never commented before, I'm not even asking you to subscribe or like, just write Devil Walks mustache is amazing. Mustache is beautiful.
Yeah.
Handsome mustache. Any comment like that would be fantastic.
And I'll just go to her, be like, I'll tell you her reaction. If you do it, you get some
Oh
comments
hell
in.
yeah.
I'll show it to her. I'll tell you the reaction in the next episode. I promise.
I'm all in for that. And see, right now, my dog, so we're still in the hotel. My wife packed all the suitcases while this episode was going on, so you might have heard some noise in the background. Dog is asleep on the bed. She's asleep in the bed with the covers over her head. And we are leaving for the airport so it's 3:46, and my shuttle is at 6, and we need to wake up at 5. So in an hour and 15 minutes, I'm waking up. I'm probably not going to sleep, really. But that is it. All about Counter-Strike. Episode 11 is done and dusted. I hope you enjoyed it. We had a lot of fun covering all the things from Astana. Dallas is right around the corner. It's literally just happening tomorrow. It's going to be wild. Everything's bigger in Dallas. And then what's even bigger is the major in Austin, which we'll be covering not long after that. So strap in. More to talk about. Thank you always for watching. Make sure you subscribe, like, drop comments, especially about Devil's Mustache. And I'm going to peace out and KO because I'm dead.